Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
Howdy.
And welcome to the first session of Tower of Saltmarsh, our new 5e creepy game. In the grand tradition of Tyler's terrifying tales. Let's all do a quick meet and greet. You can tell us about yourself, the love of the game, and a little bit about the character you'll be playing. I'm going to start with Steve.
Hello, I'm Steve. I play several other games here at Vorpal Tales, and I've been gaming since 2005. Anyone who watched some of our other introductions knows that that guy, whichever direction he's in, with the silly hat, is the one who pulled me aside in a comic shop one day and said, "Hey, roll this die and see what happens." And I've been gaming ever since. But no, I have played many systems for many years now, and honestly, I just think that this is the best hobby in the world, and I'm super excited to play with you guys as much as we do. I am playing a half-elf, half-drow druid named Elidor Riverchild. He is a free spirit from Mordant, an area of this world, and he was more aloof and stern like others from this part of the world. He loved the water and took to fishing like most do from his region. He worked all day and would hang out all night smoking a local recreational plant. Mordant is known for its fog and its ghosts. Elidor is mostly content to fish all day, smoke all night, and hang out with the ghosts he sees through the haze.
Nice. All right, Sarah.
Oh my god, why me? No, but on a serious note. Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm actually playing because of our illustrious leader. My husband was playing a game with him, and I go, "Oh yeah, I want to start listening to your stories." My hubby goes, "Okay, cool. Yeah, here, listen." And our fearless leader here, Tyler, was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make you a character sheet." Wait, what? No. And, you know, he didn't really give me a choice, and now I'm addicted. Go to D&D Anonymous. Anyway. So you've seen me in the Call of Cthulhu game we're playing, and I just play for fun otherwise. I'm in this game playing Una Pearlseeker, and she is a Selkie, so she's a seal that can turn into a human. So her job in this whole game is she's a rogue that is a, what is it, like a subclass, or she's got a few different roles. She's a smuggler, but she's a swashbuckling smuggler. Say that 10 times fast. And her whole purpose in life is to help out her fellow Selkies. Any non-Selkie entities are untrustable and possibly worth tricking. That being said, she is more of a chaotic, neutral, chaotic good character, so she tends to do the right thing. It's just everyone's got a price, and she knows that.
All right then, Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. Space Lord Pajamas on the internet. I run one of the other games here and playing a couple of the other ones too. I've been gaming for a really long time. In my intro, I've said elsewhere. Just kind of all of it. So, you know, the love of the dice. I dig it. I'm playing a character named Copper Cleaver. He actually has a giant butcher's cleaver wedged into his skull. He is a warforged artificer, and he actually works. He works as a shipwright and a cook. He does some work for some criminals every once in a while to get by. He doesn't really remember where he came from because he does have a massive cleaver stuck into his brain. Otherwise, yeah, he's I kind of modeled him after Long John Silver, so it should be fun.
But a robot.
Robot. So basically, it's Treasure Planet.
Eric.
Can you do me a favor?
What?
Can you say beep boop beep?
Beep boop beep. No, go away.
Eric.
Eric here. I'll be playing the changeling wizard Brazocalis Mortis under the psionic tradition. Because it's a level 1 game, I'm saying that Brazakaz was actually a very powerful wizard once upon a time, and something caused him to lose all knowledge of his spells and identity. In his search for his forgotten life, he discovered that he lives many other lives with completely different skill sets and personalities. When Braz shape changes into those personas, he essentially becomes that person. And he inhabits their skills and shortcomings. As such, he uses those abilities to help the crew and everybody around him, part of his group, navigate around Barovia, as it were. He's often a fatalist with a dour disposition, and Braz is nothing if not patient in his quest to reacquire the previous arcane secrets and powers he previously attained. I chose Darkon as a home domain because it made the most sense for him as a character. Since he doesn't remember who he was before now, as many others as Barovia do, he knows that King Azalin Rex, in addition to being very powerful, also has a way to manipulate people's memories. So for him, he wants to use his shape-shifting powers to perhaps infiltrate his secret police known as the Kargat, in an attempt to try to infiltrate Castle Avernus in his search for clues into his previous identity. I've been playing D&D for, since high school, and Ravenloft, along with Dark Sun, still holds up as one of the best settings for the game, and it's one of my all-time favorites. So, like many others, I got introduced to Ravenloft through the old video games on PC. If you remember those, Strahd's Possession and Stone Prophet are still great games that I still occasionally boot up just to bask in the nostalgia. Ravenloft is gothic horror, so there's vampires, werewolves, ghosts, dark lords, tarot decks, curses, big scary castles, and corruption and madness with a capital M. So what's not to like, right?
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff. So that being said, I'm very excited to see what happens to Braz and the crew and seeing how the horror unfolds.
Okay. So, I'm Tyler. I'm the Dungeon Master for this particular game. I also play in a few of Sean's games. I've been playing D&D since... wow.
1902.
Yeah. Since before the Great War. All the way since 2nd edition, not advanced 2nd edition, 2nd edition. All the way through to now. If the system existed and it has any element of horror or mystery in it, I've probably played it. Yeah, I've been playing Ravenloft since the first box set came out. It's the first box set I bought in Dungeons and Dragons. Dragonlance being the second. And I was very sad that they never really fleshed it out very much in 3rd edition. They tried in 4th, and in 5th, we got Castle Ravenloft in Barovia, which is the closest they've gotten in a long time.
Gives me time to practice my
However,
Scottish accent.
I am still a bit of a rookie with OBS, as you can see. Moving
there
on
you
with
go.
our lives. So, what we're doing is we're taking the basis we were given, Ravenloft 5th edition, with Castle Ravenloft and Barovia, only I'm expanding it to the entire domains of Dread. This game started out as Ghosts of Saltmarsh, because it was in the grand Lovecraftian tradition, which our other game is, of deep ones and things in the ocean. However, one of these players, his name should not be mentioned, said, it'd be cool, is if in October we could fight Strahd. And I said, yeah, that'd be cool. How would we transition this to that? And then I said, we're just going to put this in Ravenloft. And thus began this bold endeavor. Perhaps foolish, we will find
put
out.
the castle in the Saltmarsh.
Put the Saltmarsh in the castle.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait,
You
is
know.
this whole world just a room in the castle?
Probably.
It's now
Probably.
Cthulhuloft.
It's a grand snow globe in the middle of the castle somewhere. Yes.
Oh.
So it's like St. Elsewhere.
So we've taken Ghosts of Saltmarsh, stripped out all the parts that aren't creepy, and replaced them with classic Ravenloft parts. And then it will end on a high note of them battling Strahd and probably being horribly mutilated and dying, as it should
I
be.
was gonna say we're gonna be mutilated and died long before that.
That's also
Maybe
probably
you guys
true.
are.
So for anyone who's watching that has any knowledge of Ravenloft, and you watch Eric's face here, this would be great. Our progression will work thusly. We'll be playing the modified Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh from Ghosts of Saltmarsh, followed up by Neither Man Nor Beast, Ravenloft 2nd Edition Classic Module, followed by The Loathsome Deep 2nd Edition Ravenloft Classic Module, The Bride of Mordenheim 2nd Edition Ravenloft Classic Module, The Sunken Temple, which is from the GM's Guild. It is amazing, and when we get there, I'm totally going to tout the guys who made this. After that, we will progress to a modified Isle of the Abbey from Ghosts of Saltmarsh. And then we will be playing the Bleak House box set, the most famous classic Ravenloft module. Followed by Ship of Horror, more classic Ravenloft. And then Tamarot's Fate from Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Then From the Shadows and Roots of Evil, so that the players can then discover more about who by then will be one of their very shadowy bosses who pay them to do things on the Sea of Sorrows. And they will learn much about perhaps the ruler of Barovia and the ruler of Darkon, followed by Castle Ravenloft.
If we survive.
If you survive that long, yes.
We're not gonna last 4 sessions.
You're so
Shocked.
encouraging.
Steve has no faith in this. So, people watching, get a drink. It's going to be lots of talking for a hot minute, so we can talk about how this works in 5e and add some new mechanics before we actually launch into the adventure.
Mechanics.
Mechanics. Ravenloft. And we're going to do a new picture here, too. Creepy new pictures. Ravenloft is neither the name of the planet nor the name of the land. Ravenloft is an ancient castle in the land of Barovia, a nation that lies at the heart of the continent known simply as the Core. The world itself has no name, simply being known as the world. To some it's called the Land of the Mists. Travelers from distant lands sometimes label the world the Demiplane of Dread, but locals laugh at that hyperbole. Others have called the world such things as a prison for the damned, a crucible for the virtuous, or a realm of fear. To you four, it is simply home. You will be native to Ravenloft. You will not be incoming from other worlds, as is frequently done in other campaigns and stories.
We're OGs here.
You're OGs.
Raveloftians.
So, I'm going to give you 10 things a common person in Ravenloft would know. Many beliefs vary from land to land within Ravenloft, as within the domains of dread, as we shall refer to them, as people disagree on what is true and what is myth, but the majority of the core's inhabitants commonly accept the following as facts. Magic is real. It is widely accepted that it exists, but it is disputed if it's an abomination or part of the natural order. Most folk never witness displays of true magic, but still accept it exists. People are isolated. The average person lives their entire life within 30 miles of where they were born. The farthest most folk travel is the neighboring town or village. Monsters are real. The majority of people die from natural causes, never having encountered a creature of the night. Regardless, it is agreed that monsters are very real and that dangers lurk in the shadows. Superstitions work. As monsters are real and dangerous, adherence to ritual is what keeps people safe. By strictly adhering to tradition, tragedy is avoided. Humanity is predominant. The various inhuman races are rare, almost unknown in many lands. At best, they're viewed as less than human, and at worst, they are seen as beasts or monsters in many lands. Technology advances. The progress of science has created modern wonders such as clockworks, firearms, gas lights, and even some steam power. The level of technology varies from domain to domain. get into that later. The gods are silent. While prayers are sometimes answered, and divine spells do mostly still work, the gods themselves do not speak directly to mortals. Some claim to hear the voice of God, but these are called madmen as often as they are called prophets. Do not anger the Vistani. Wandering vagabonds, the Vistani are often considered thieves, but these gypsies can also be entertainers, traders, craftsmen, and mystics. Despite widespread fear and mistrust of the wandering folk, the potency of their curses and the use of the evil eye keep them from being barred from most towns. Beware the mists. Cool white fogs border the known lands. It is easy to become lost in these mists, which have been known to snatch travelers, depositing them in faraway lands or even other times. And lastly, magic is unreliable. Outlanders from distant lands complain that magic does not work as it should. It cannot detect morality, travel between nations, accurately divine the future, or cross into other worlds. Even though spells that do work often have unintended consequences. Moving on. Ravenloft is a world of terrors and is unlike any other campaign setting created for D&D. It's a land where the common threats are not beasts pulled from Greek mythology or high fantasy, instead coming from gothic tales, folk tales, and old horror films. Beasts like the Chimera or Manticore are rare. It is instead a world of vampires, werewolves, ghosts, hags, and darker things. For the inhabitants, their world is not a place of nightmares. Wicked gods do not cause dramatic events that shake the land, armies of orcs do not rampage across the countryside, and huge dragons do not burn whole villages. The occasional person might die a mysterious death, or vanish under suspicious circumstances, but most folk live relatively normal lives in peace before dying a mundane death. Yet there are still horrors, monsters lurking in the shadows, in the woods, in the ruins, and in the dark places even the brave fear to walk. While there are no dragons, neither are there shining knights wielding radiant swords, or righteous holy warriors with unwavering faith, and magi who flaunt their control over the fundamental forces of the universe. Such bravery is rare, and champions that flagrant become easy prey for the forces of the night. Heroes in Ravenloft are a different sort, not choosing a life of adventure for glory or wealth, but usually having the hero's life thrust on them for more personal reasons. They are unlikely to turn the tide against the forces of evil or save the world. Many will not even be remembered for their deeds, save by the people whose lives they saved. Questions before moving on? Cultural
No.
levels. What was that, Steve?
I'll say nothing from me.
And I'm gonna switch this to the old cool map now. This is the classic box set map. Gives you a rough idea of the lay of the land. Cultural levels. The many domains of Ravenloft are disparate, even especially amongst their level of culture and what they have available to them. You will find
Sorry.
wildly... Yes.
I have to interrupt you. Is that Neil Patrick Harris?
Absolutely.
As Strahd in the corner there?
Oh,
The guy,
wow.
that's the
You get to
skinnier version
start-
of the guy from Monster Squad.
I wrote down in my notes, first person to notice that gets a free inspiration card when we start. Remember that.
Me. I nailed it.
He was probably not even born when that was drawn, but wow, it's amazing.
It also kind of looks like Matt Smith a little. Just a little
Yeah.
slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even as pale as him.
Jeez.
Okay, all are refugees of ultimate darkness in which the accursed are forever doomed to suffer on their thrones. Each land is a land of mystery and superstition where the unwary are often short-lived. So, the cultural levels that exist in Ravenloft fall along the following lines. Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, Classical, Dark Age, Early Medieval, Chivalric, which is where most D&D worlds fall, and Renaissance. The Stone Age domains are pretty rare, and mostly you run into them on accident. They're islands or pocket domains in this world. You have worse. You'll find worse equipment there than even Conan had. Bronze Age would be a Conan-style Savage Worlds game. There are more of those, but they're still pretty rare. and they only have basic tools, and it's much like a Conan movie. An Iron Age culture has most of the things that a D&D player is used to having. They have water clocks and shadow clocks and math and astronomy and steel swords. But it's still not quite as advanced as like the current 5e Forgotten Realms world. Classical domains, classical even as an era is like a dividing line and a weird thing to classify even in the real world. But it's the dividing line between primitive and advanced medieval societies. So if you ever played Dark Sun, that would be classical with very little metal. Harakir would be classical style. I can't think of any obvious examples in the Forgotten Realms, but I'm sure there are some. At this point, they've progressed to algebra and geometry. Magicians have alchemy. You'd start being able to play an artificer in this age. Dark Age is in Ravenloft. Most of those are British-style Dark Ages where like plagues and other terrible things are prevalent. And society is beginning to regress from a previous higher level. After Dark Ages comes early medieval, where you start seeing the Gothic Arch. Navigation becomes more reliable, stern rudders appear on ships, and you start exiting the older eras. You get Mott and Bailey style castles, crossbows, and chainmail start showing up. Medieval is the most common cultural level in D&D, and it's what you're used to. Chivalric is gunpowder has been discovered, and you start seeing other advancements, like you would see in a current 5e Forgotten Realms world where they talk about finding rubber sometimes or printed paper. That's chivalric. And Renaissance is the most advanced you're going to find in Ravenloft. Renaissance cultures don't really have armor anymore. Firearms have dominated warfare. You're progressing between arquebus and rifle. You've got pistols that can hold more than one round at this point. You've got explosives. Fencing replaces heavy swordplay. Clockwork mechanisms appear. And large castles are seldom constructed, but they give way to more advanced walls. Questions on that? So your starting domain will determine if I give you any extra equipment.
Oh, cool.
Dark powers. One must never forget that Ravenloft is not a natural realm, it's a construct. The average citizens of Ravenloft are not truly interested in the existence of the dark powers. To such folk, that just is synonymous with the universal boogeyman you would call the Mists. But the dark powers are the mysterious entity that created this demiplane and suck in all the massive evildoers here and trap them in prisons where they are gods but can never leave and must suffer their worst nightmare endlessly on a loop. No one knows why they do it, or what the point is, or who they are. Enough said. You'll never know.
So this whole world is just an asshole.
This whole world is a construct it's an experiment and no one knows why. That's correct.
It's a prison for assholes.
It's a prison for assholes.
Well, I'm an asshole.
Welcome to the club.
What if we put all the assholes in one
On
place?
one island.
And then all these random people for the assholes to torture. That'd be you.
Wait, so this is like reality TV for the gods?
Possibly. No one knows.
On.
God wouldn't construct this place though.
I mean, when you live for a millennium or for eons, eternity.
Wow.
Just some version of like a mid-40s, executive god. It's like, I got this great idea. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I'm just gonna put a bunch of assholes on an island. See what happens. I bet you I can sell it. I can package it. That god has to exist somewhere, right?
The god of marketing, yeah.
The god of marketing. Wow.
The ultimate nightmare.
The ultimate evil.
Asmodeus is like, dude, chill the fuck down.
Dial it down, son. Dial it down.
Thought I was evil. Shit.
Wow. Okay. Now we'll talk about the Mists. Exactly what they are or how they function is unknown. It is for this reason commoners and people that are native like you would just refer to them in much the way a child might speak of the boogeyman. Anything unknown or threatening is generally ascribed to the mists, whether there's a connection or not. It's not mist the way most people think of mists. It's not swirling clouds of white fog that roll out of the ground to consume evildoers. It does have some merit, because they are controlled by the dark powers, apparently. Also, maybe the Dark Lords. Who knows? But in Ravenloft, mists surround the borders of every land. It's always there, it's omnipresent, it never quite leaves. It can just appear and disappear, but also it's always just kind of there. And for reasons unknown to people like yourselves, sometimes those mists get thicker and it becomes impossible to enter or leave a land for a while, and then it goes away. Sometimes areas at the edge of the known world that are just endless mists suddenly give way to new lands that weren't there a day before, and people just accept it. After a while, they'll start believing it was always there. That includes you.
Mm-hmm.
So the mist is an asshole.
I thought we covered this already, Steve. Everything and
Yeah.
everyone on this island is an asshole.
So that tree.
Steve.
What about that tree? What about that tree
It's
right
totally an
Steve.
asshole.
An asshole.
You're surrounded by assholes.
there? Oh my god.
Exactly.
Keep firing assholes.
Now you're getting it.
Now, a little bit of metagame for anyone interested.
Always.
The name
Give us
Domains
that
of
lore.
Dread as a sobriquet for the world, the whole of the larger demiplane, is apt because it is composed of scores of small pocket nations, like the cells of a honeycomb or the cells of a prison. Each of these artificially constructed countries, called domains, is the prison of a singular evil entity who is its Dark Lord. They may stand alone, an island of terror surrounded by mists, or they may join seamlessly with others to form clusters or the core. Every aspect of a domain, from its climate to the creatures there, is a subtle reflection of the Dark Lord, offering painful reminders of the transgression that forged his or her doom. The size could range from a room all the way out to a massive country all in itself. Some sages believe that the size might be a measure of the force of personality of the Dark Lord or their squandered potential, but no one really knows. In a domain, the Dark Lord has absolute power and authority, but he has none outside of it, and he or she can never leave. Most domains are a single Dark Lord, but sometimes it's a group or a pair. You never know. A Dark Lord can trap others in or block out by closing the borders, but they can never leave. Some have tried for centuries to escape, but have never succeeded. Yet. Some are especially restless to get out, and I'm sure you won't ever run into any of those.
Never.
Questions about the mist besides whether or not they're assholes?
Not so much a question, but also an observation that the mists also can sometimes get out into other worlds and to other places in the D&D multiverse and end up pulling people into Barovia. Is that not correct?
And no one knows why.
Mhm.
They know people know that they capture the evil Dark Lords, but no one knows why they just pull in random people to run them through a maze like rats. That's why no one's sure it's a prison made by good aligned gods.
The
No,
mists
it is
giveth,
not.
and the mists taketh away.
Is a common sobriquet said in Ravenloft, yes.
Aha!
Now we're going to break up the talking for a hot minute, do some new mechanics. New rule, pushing characteristics.
Oh shit.
This allows me to encourage you to portray your flaws, because this is a gothic horror game, not a heroic game. What this basically means is I will be far less likely to assign you inspiration for heroic deeds, and far more likely to assign them for playing up your flaws. It does not mean I won't reward heroic deeds, because that'd be dumb if you didn't. Playing up your flaws will always catch my attention faster than sacrificing yourself to save the town, unless that is your flaw. In Gothic literature,
Good paladin.
in Gothic literature, most protagonists are tempted frail or have terrible compulsions. That's what makes it horror. But they tend to rise to the occasion in times of great importance to overcome their demons. So, instead of saying, you did a cool thing, here's a point, this allows me to get you to portray a particular personality trait or flaw. It could also be a bond or a dark temptation, which we'll get to later. Any of those three.
I like the sound of that.
So you can pick one, and then when I see you consistently role-playing it, I will consistently reward you.
Sounds good.
So, there's more further down the list, but the starting list I have is you can pick a greatest fear, or you can roll a d20 and assign one. Whichever you think is more fun.
I kind of want to pick it.
List includes losing a loved one, becoming seriously ill, failing someone you love, being a helpless victim, succumbing to temptation and becoming corrupt, not achieving your dreams, being abandoned by those close to you, something moving inside your body that shouldn't be there,
That's a real life one for me, thanks.
becoming insane, getting old, senile, and weak, being poor or homeless, getting trapped in a fire, becoming lost in a strange place, losing control of yourself, being covered in vermin, losing your reputation, being paralyzed or otherwise not in control of your body, being trapped in a tight space, losing your faith, being all alone in the dark, or utter and sheer terror of the abyss, meaning the ocean.
Oh yes, my Selkie's going to be afraid of the
Your sailors are going to be terrified of the ocean.
Oh, that'd be kind of
Keep in
hilarious,
mind that last
actually.
one, this is going to be primarily an ocean campaign.
Oh, contemplating. I kind of like the idea of her being afraid of an enclosed space because she's originally an animal, and animals don't like being put in cages.
Okay. Write that down and play it up when it seems appropriate.
Alrighty.
Is it possible to do the loss of a home, like not being able to sail on the sea again?
Yes. Very appropriate. Being forever landlocked. What about you two?
That's a good question.
What is the main fear? Okay.
Yeah, I might just roll mine.
1d20.
With the caveat that maybe the water one. Not
Do we have a
good.
list? Do we have the list available in the handouts?
No, but I can make that available.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please.
Steve, you can go ahead and roll while I do that for Eric.
Here goes nothing.
Afraid of the ocean.
15.
Being covered in vermin.
Aww.
You don't like it, roll again.
Okay.
Like, this is, roll till you get one that you think you like. You should be able to see
do-
it. Unroll
I'll
20
do-
now, Eric.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Excellent,
Here we
thank you.
go. Thank you. I'm okay. Let's do that one.
For anyone watching who's curious, most of the information so far has come from a fantastic supplement that once we get this uploaded to YouTube, which will be on Wednesday, I will have it in the notes. You'll be able to see all of the supplements we pulled all this cool stuff from.
I'm gonna pick 6.
We like using the GM's Guild to support people like us. 6. Eric chooses not achieving his dreams, not being able to ever recover all that knowledge of spells.
I'm gonna go with. I honestly don't know. Jesus. Okay. I'm bad at this. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna do one more roll. See what comes up.
One more.
One more. 17. Paralysis or loss of
Paralyzed.
bodily control. That's a good one.
All right, I'll
Wait,
roll
man.
with that.
Scared the
Nice.
shit out of me. Huh?
My
That freaks me out in real life.
druggy hippie guy doesn't want to be paralyzed. During control.
Never
Body.
overdo it. I'll totally get high in a minute, you guys. I just got to measure out the perfect dose, because you never know.
Oh my gosh.
Moving on
I'm
to
picturing
Dark
him.
Shadows.
I'm picturing him getting couch bound.
Wow.
Right?
So a dark shadow means that you've been touched by the land. I don't mean that you're becoming a Dark Lord or you're failing power checks. We'll get into that later. What I mean is, something has happened to you. Maybe you're cursed, maybe you're bitten, maybe you were born wrong. Something about this dark land has seeped into you. This will give you a characteristic you can use to gain inspiration. It will give you a mechanical flaw, and it will give you a new way you can spend your inspiration points beyond whatever cards I give you and beyond advantage disadvantage. A unique way tied to the dark shadow.
That sounds cool.
Bear with me for one moment, because the part I cut out of the book missed part of what we need. I gotta go open that actual book.
Get that book.
That book.
This is the one you got from the place.
One of them, yeah. So Sean, while I look this up, why don't you tell us about your original idea that I shot down real hard about a bunch of vampires sharing a flat?
Also, really quickly, I just want to shout out, I think, shout out Snipes262 in chat. Snipes, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime subscription.
No, that was for the vampire game. But I just, yeah, I just wanted to play. I just wanted to play
Like a vampire
what we did-
version of Seinfeld?
Basic. Well, no, it was what we do in Shadow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say
What we do in the shadows.
shadows.
He wanted to play that,
I've
yes.
not seen that yet.
I was just like, I just want to play the dude as a vampire.
Which one?
The dude.
Oh. I think
dude.
my favorite would have to be the psychic vampire.
Yes.
No, Matt Berry. Matt Berry is the vampire.
Funniest man in the world to me. This is so good.
That's
I can do very skillful Slavic accent. I can be a vampire.
Hey Steve, are you so
sorry?
turned up right now?
I'm not. No, I can't. I'm not gonna do the thing.
What? No. What? What?
No,
What? No.
We're just-
Tell me.
we're just quoting another show. It's fine. Everyone watch What We Do in the Shadows. It's hilarious.
Best thing
Eric,
ever.
Eric, that's your homework.
My homework, yeah.
which is why I wanted to play.
All right, we're good to go.
Okay.
Cool.
Huzzah. We get to pick the way we're touched by the land now.
If you don't pick one now, you might get one later, whether you like it or not. And some of these can be taken away by questing to have them removed if it's a curse or something.
Where are they?
Having said that, I'm going to go through the list, and if you hear one that catches your fancy, write it down and we'll come back to it. Accursed. A malicious hag or a dark cleric or a vindictive Vistani has cursed you. Something evil might have cursed you for stopping them, or something good might have cursed you for being an asshole. Who knows? Whatever it is, you haven't figured out the escape clause yet, or you're too dumb to notice.
Escape clause. Sorry.
Speaking of which, in Ravenloft, almost anyone can curse you. Doesn't matter if you have power or not. Curses work, but they always
curse
have
you.
they always have an
Curse
escape
you.
clause.
I curse you.
Hey, I'm
Yes.
cursing over here.
Hey.
Exactly. Second is addict. Looking at Steve. You have a physical addiction to a substance, like alcohol, tobacco, or laudanum, or opium. You might be a regular user, a recovering addict, or a casual user who has no idea you have a dependency now. Bitten. You have been savaged by the natural attacks of a supernatural creature, such as a werebeast, a vampire, or a ghoul. Cat's eyes.
Go ghoul.
You were born with bright yellow eyes and slightly ovoid pupils, which catch the light and appear to glow in dim illumination.
That sounds cool.
Cold
How is
one.
that a
An
problem?
undead creature drained you of your life energy, almost killing you and turning you into an unliving monstrosity. You barely escaped, but something is gone. Part of your soul, who knows?
Oh, that's right up my alley.
Fugitive. You've earned the enmity of a powerful and formidable opponent. Totally not a domain lord, who haunts your every action. Few champions live for long here without acquiring an enemy, but the one you've earned is quite potent and unforgiving.
Dang it. What's that one called again?
Fugitive.
The one before that?
Cold one.
I'm
cold
really
one?
leaning towards fugitive.
Gravesite. The spirits
So
of
if you
people
killed
and-
your wife.
The spirits of people and events are visible to you as vague mist-like outlines. You can see both ghosts and the imprint left by strong emotions and dramatic events on a location, but they never let you rest. Haunted. The ghost of a loved one or family member follows you around, seldom leaving your side. You cannot see any other spirits any special way, but damn, you can see them all the time. Hollow. You have no soul at all. Why? Maybe you were born that way. Maybe it was drained. Who knows?
Maybe it's Maybelline.
I was
Joe.
thinking
Say,
the
maybe
same,
it's
and, like,
Maybelline.
You can't say it like that, Tyler.
Sometimes I open it up for the jokes, Steve. Lunatic. Your emotions are tied to the cycle of the moon. The brighter it
Oh,
gets, the more crazy you get.
Oh my god.
Possessed. I don't think I need to explain that one.
No, please do.
What do I possess?
Next one. Wait for it. Redheaded. Having been touched by the Fae, witchcraft, or other magical forces, you have some minor magical talent, but lots of people think you're cursed, because fairies, redhead, you know. I thought about leaving that one out, Steve, but I didn't. I see your reaction there. Redeemed! After a lengthy inner struggle, you've escaped corruption, but you were almost pulled into the darkness of Ravenloft. Reincarnated. Caught in a choice of death and rebirth. This is not your first life. You dimly recall the events of past lives, and it makes dreaming really weird for you.
Oh man, I got 2 on that
I was
list.
gonna say, that's a good one for
Second
Eric.
sight. You have the ability to catch glimpses of the future through visions, dreams, fortunes, or divining signs. Shadow touched. The darkness moves and shifts around you as shadows move on their own. You've been touched by the demi-plane of shadows are one with the darkness and the night. You can exert some control over them, but sometimes they just come for you. Thus ends the list.
Oh,
Can I pick 2?
No, not to start. You can start with one, and then, you know.
Okay.
What was there? Shoot, I already forgot the one that it was like 2 ago. It was one of the last 3, I think.
Shadow touch, second sight.
Second sight. That's it.
That's the one you want?
Yeah, I'll do second sight.
Okay.
You know this means he's a fortune-telling machine now, right?
Wow.
That actually is a major part of the game, so you know.
That's
Fantastic.
awesome.
Oh, I'm trying to
Fantastic.
decide between fugitive, grave, and shadow touched.
The
Sean, you sure you don't want to be renamed Zoltar?
Wow. Yeah, there's a reach back. All right, Sean.
wait. The
You
other one
confuse
I
him
was
with
thinking-
someone named Zoltar from your past life.
I was
a
also
great
thinking the one where you get to see all the spirits.
That's grave something.
Gravesite, yeah.
Yeah,
Which one?
the one where you get to see all the spirits.
By the way, you all got to pick different ones. So once he picks one I list of powers, that one's gone.
Oh, okay.
Oh, does anybody want that one?
No.
Is that the one where you can see ghosts but they won't let you sleep?
Yes.
Yes.
That was one
Go
of
for
them. You can go for it.
No, I'll do second sight. Nobody grabbed on that one, so I'll do that one.
Characteristics. This is the part you'd play up to get cards and rewards. Seeing events unfold in a non-linear fashion makes you erratic or mysterious, prone to non sequiturs, cryptic statements, or even confusion over cause and effect. You might be distracted or have difficulty focusing on the moment, receiving images or impressions of different times and places. You're probably also fatalistic, having little belief in free will.
I think that's now that it's been explained.
I didn't get to the powers, so you're good.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you don't actually like it, take the ghost one that can't sleep. I should take attic anyway, probably.
Yeah, I like.
Oh my
let's
God.
Read me the ghost one.
Gravesight. Characteristics. You cannot turn off your sight and have witnessed so many scenes of horror and tragedy, often with no warning. At any time, you might experience a vision of the past or encounter a ghost that does not wish to be disturbed. You are wary about entering new places, which might have witnessed uncountable horrors or be the home of spirits. You are cautious and maybe even nervous. You may also have grown detached, emotionally hardened after years of horror.
What about the one where you only see one spirit?
Loved
That's
one.
the one when it's your family doing it.
I was thinking like an old captain or something like that, but I can't like remember what captain he was or who he was.
The person who made you?
Haunted!
The creator?
You have likely been thought crazy for seeing and hearing someone who's not there. You've grown used to not being believed, and are tired of trying to explain it. You might have limited social skills from spending too much time talking to the dead, especially if you were isolated due to your perceived insanity. You might seem perpetually distracted as if listening to a crowd or lost in thought.
That one I can do. I'll do that one.
I'm trying to decide between two of them. Either
Same.
fugitive or shadow touched. Because she's a smuggler, you know, so of course she's fugitive, but shadow touched because she's a rogue. I mean,
Sean, your
And
That
benefit.
she's
could
also
develop over
supernatural.
time, though, couldn't it?
Sean, your
What?
benefit.
You can acquire that one later.
You can consult with your spirit, learning otherwise unknowable knowledge. Pick one skill. History, investigation, perception, or survival. You can change it once per long rest. During that period, you can spend your inspiration to gain proficiency in that skill long enough to make the skill check. So pick one you're not proficient in.
Read them again.
History, investigation, perception, or survival, and you can change it rest to rest.
I'll do investigation.
Okay. Alternately, you can spend your inspiration to roll a perception check when it's not your turn by using your reaction.
Oh, that's going to be useful for spotting invisibles things.
Alright, Sarah.
Can you send that to me in chat? Just
Yeah.
copy paste.
I read it out loud for the watchers, but I'm going to put it in Discord.
the Watchers.
The watchers, that's what I'm going to call them in this game.
The Vorpal Watchers.
Alright, Sarah, which two did you say?
Either fugitive or shadow touched.
Fugitive, you're probably in a fight. Everyone who's interested in Fugitive, raise your hand and we'll roll off. Really? They're not going to raise their hand? I know they're both interested.
Oh,
Alright, Sarah gets it!
Yeah,
Wait,
just let it. No,
what?
it's fine.
I said or shadow touched.
You can still change your mind after I read the characteristic, but before you hear the power.
Okay, so just read the characteristic and not power.
Fugitive, you spend every waking minute wondering if your enemies are waiting nearby ready to strike. You might hope to one day vanquish them, but that's a long ways away. It never seems to get closer. You're probably suspicious and paranoid.
Can I hear about the shadow touched one?
Yes. Having stared into blackness, you see things in black and white. This might be literal color blindness, the unrealistic kind, which removes all hues from your vision, depriving you of the beauty of color, or metaphorically, as you philosophically view things in absolutes. Only a Sith deals in absolutes, Sarah.
Sarah, if it's any help for you, chat thinks you're definitely a fugitive and kind of shady.
I mean, that makes
I'm with 'em.
sense.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm a fugitive.
Fugitive.
Also, you now, Sean, you have to mail Sarah your hat
What? Why?
But that's his best hat.
so that she can wear it kind of like a sneaky fugitive.
Yeah, you need
Sarah
a hat
can
you
get her
can
own
pull
hat.
down over your head. Alright,
Yeah,
Sarah,
she can
your
get her own
power. You can spend your inspiration to gain expertise and perception for 1 minute. That's funny, you already have that. Oh, if already proficient, 3 times your proficiency bonus for 1 minute.
Wow.
What?
Nuts.
Cool.
So
3
right now
times?
yours is doubled because you're a rogue. It would go to ×3 for 1 minute. Alternatively, you can spend your inspiration to act in a surprise round where you were surprised.
Wow.
That's a good one. All right, Steve, what you got?
I think I'm gonna go. It was Ghost Sight, right? Where you have seen horrible things and you like ghosts are just always bugging
Gravesite,
you.
yeah.
Gravesite.
All
I'm gonna
right.
do that. It was literally in my description that he sits and smokes and hangs out with ghosts all day.
I will put the characteristic in Discord since we already read it once.
Okay.
And then I will tell you the power.
Hail.
You can spend your inspiration to witness the ethereal resonance of recent events. The event must have had some emotional significance and have occurred in your current location. Watching the ghostly reenactment might offer some clue as to what had happened or provide new information. You might also have to roll a horror check, which I'll get to later. Alternatively, you can spend your inspiration to partially see an invisible undead creature. Make a perception check to locate it as if it were lightly obscured.
Hell yeah.
Eric.
Alright, I was actually going between two. The one that I believe you said was old one, where I survived a terrible horror and I lost something important to me, like, you know, my memories.
Cold one.
A cold one. I'm picturing a beer. Like, I fought a beer and it was really bad.
No, cold one is you were drained of your life energy by an undead.
Okay, got it.
I've got a cold one.
The other one was, of course, reincarnation, because I dream of past lives. That makes the most sense, I think.
Start with that one, and if you like the characteristic, we'll stick with it.
Yeah. Sounds like
You
a
seem
good
more
idea.
experienced than your age would suggest. Wise beyond years and possessing esoteric and varied knowledge. You likely appear book smart, having lots of trivial and historical knowledge. You might be thoughtful and quiet, prone to reverie and introspection. You're also forgetful, calling people by the wrong name and talking about things long since past as if it was current events.
I love it so much. It's literally.
You want that one?
Sure.
Benefit.
That's like literally what I helped with.
Tapping into the knowledge of your previous memories or past lives, you can spend your inspiration to be considered proficient in any skill for 1 minute or any tool for 1 turn. Alternatively, you can spend your inspiration to recall memories from one of your past lives, potentially recalling some detail of a person or place you've never met or never been. I'll drop that in chat because that one's complex. Okay. Switching back.
Nice.
What were these called again? Sorry.
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows, okay. Next, we're going to lightly touch on equipment. So, changes to equipment. Silver and cold iron. First thing you're all going to say is, I need a silver sword and a cold iron dagger because it's a Ravenloft. Guess what? The alchemical silver and cold iron processes of other worlds doesn't really work here. Most weapons made of silver alloy dull quickly and bend and break often. Also, it's not true silver, it's simply coated. Silver weapons weigh 1.5 times more than a steel weapon. They also cost 50 gold above the base price, and you must have a skilled worker to make it for you. When you roll a 1 on an attack roll, reduce the size of the weapon's damage dice. When it hits D4 and it reduces again, the weapon is broken and useless.
Wow.
Cold iron. Cold iron is brittle and easily broken. Cold iron weapon costs 150 gold more than normal because no one does it. But it works really well against the Fae. If you roll a 1 on an attack roll, you must then make a DC 11 strength check, or you break the weapon. Meaning disadvantage on all rolls until you complete a short rest and can fix it. That's just for you to remember. Other materials, if you run into them, like stone, obsidian, or bone, if we hit those realms, we'll deal with them. Improvised weapons are common here. So I'm gonna... You don't have to memorize this, I'm just gonna show it to you. Let's see. Kill this one. And bring in this one. If you have to improvise a weapon, it's not as dastardly to your rolls as regular 5e. If the improvised weapon is one of these things and you're proficient with the tool, you don't take a penalty to your roll. Because, you know,
Cool.
you fight with what you can in a land like this. Adventuring gear. Eric, what realm are you from? You're from Darkon, right?
Yeah.
Sean?
Said I don't remember.
Oh, right, you wanted me to secretly assign yours, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you want a keepsake from there, even though it doesn't tell you where you're from?
Yeah, I actually don't want to know where I'm from till
But
later.
do you want, like, some kind of trinket you would have had?
Sure, that makes sense.
You have a pocket watch,
Okay.
and you know how to wind it.
It's about time.
Sarah,
Yes.
Where are you from?
Ouch.
Mordant.
Mordant. You have a plague mask. When you wear it, you have advantage on saving throws against airborne poisons, diseases, and odors.
Nice.
I have a
The herbs
plague
have to be
mask.
replaced occasionally.
Can you send that in chat so I have it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So checking to make sure that's it for you, but I think so, yes. Where are you from, Steve?
Mordant.
Oh, same thing. Okay.
Can mine be the gas mask bong, though?
You have...
Sarah knows what I'm talking about.
You're fired.
Wow. Well, I don't know which one of these I want to give you. You want a fun thing or a thing that actually gives you a mechanical advantage?
One thing.
Phonograph! A device used for recording sounds on metal cylinders coated with wax. And then replaying the recordings
Nope.
through a large horn.
Hold up. Nope. I thought you said phonograph.
That's
You
pretty good.
said, do you want something fun? And then
Phonograph!
I heard phonograph. And I'm like, the hell is a phonograph?
Okay.
What do I get for
You can
equipment
have
for
that,
being from
or
Dark
you can
Isle?
have a compass that gives you advantage on all wisdom checks related to navigation.
Oh,
That's
I want
boring.
the-
Oh,
I want
geez.
the phonograph.
With a
I want the
record.
It's the phonograph.
What now, Eric?
What did I get as far as equipment for being?
They don't get anything
Dark Isle?
extra because it's a standard D&D time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay,
only for
got it.
people from
Alright.
a more advanced.
Okay.
Okay. Wait. Where'd part 2 go? Hold on. Something disappeared from me.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay. We're gonna touch on some of this other stuff, even though you're probably not gonna run into it right away because of the realms you're from, but you might eventually. So, explosives and firearms exist in certain realms in this world. Look at Sean's face.
I'm listening.
These may add the following 2 properties you haven't seen before: ammunition, which means it requires bullets, and reload, which means you gotta use a full or bonus action to reload like a bow. Gunpowder exists. Bomb-style grenades exist, but you're probably gonna blow your hand off. Dynamite exists. And more importantly to you guys, pistols, muskets, or hunting rifles, and arquebus all exist. So, a pistol and a musket requires simple weapon proficiency, and revolvers and rifles require martial weapon proficiency. If you ever run into one and get one, then we'll talk about it then, but since you didn't, we don't need to yet. Bullets aren't cheap. Okay, faiths. Ravenloft, except for those weird outlanders who appear every now and then, don't have the typical gods. Gods of the mist are silent. They never commune, but they do answer prayers. The following are available for you for flavor worship, or if you multi-class into a divine class, to pick. Doesn't matter if you're a druid, so Steve's got to listen a little bit, a cleric, or a champion. You have to pick from this list. There is no other available, including nature spirits or ideas.
Do I have to pick one of these following things?
Yes.
But I don't want to.
First is Belinus, the god of sun and fire. He is neutral good himself, and his domains include nature and light.
Meh.
The Eternal Order, the state religion of Darkon. It does not revere a single deity, but instead wards off the end of the world. Domains include death and knowledge. It's neutral.
What is the name of that one again?
The Eternal Order. Ezra. Once immortal, Ezra returned as a god and protector according to people from the Domains of Dread. Maiden of the Mist or our Guardian in the Mists. Ezra is lawful neutral. Domains include life, war, and nature, the most widespread religion in this world. Hala, a secret and mystical faith. Followers of Hala,
No one do it.
too late, are often accused of being witches or hags, even though they're not. They're really just nature lovers and worshippers.
I like
Neutral.
that one.
Neutral. Domains include Arcana, Nature, and Tempest. Good.
I like that
you
one.
won't be alone in this party. That's all I'm saying. Done. Steve has his. The Lawgiver. The Lawgiver is the state religion of certain states, including Haslan and Nova Vasa, requiring blind obedience. The Morning Lord. The god of the rosy dawn that ends even the darkest of nights, except it never seems to work out here. It's so weird. The Dawnbringer. Chaotic good. The Wolf God. That's who you worship if you want to be a werewolf and eat someone's face. Chaotic evil. And lastly, Zakata, the beast deity that demands continual sacrifice, known as the Devourer. So yes, Hala Steve.
Damn it! I picked Hala. No. I got some Jay in chat. Hala. I'm like no.
Remind me
I'm
later
a
on.
Hala back girl.
Remind me later to send you stuff about that.
It's too late for me. I already went over it with Tyler.
Yep.
Oh no! What'd you pick?
Hala.
Hala.
Oh, so we're
Hala.
both Mordant and Hala.
Yes.
Hala!
Okay. Now onto the fun things. Horror. Dark inspiration. When you have an instance of good luck, like you roll a natural 20, or you pull off some crazy feat with good dice rolls,
You will immediately be punished.
or you spend your inspiration, I get an inspiration point too to give to the monsters. Like yours,
Inspiring.
though. Like yours, though, mine expire at the end of the session. So, just remember that. Next, the Dread Pool.
Oh.
How do you add tension to a D&D game that isn't built on gothic horror and the tentacles won't make you lose your sanity instantly? Dread!
You add Ryan Reynolds.
Well, the party is in an unnatural or horrifying place, like a haunted castle, a vampire's lair, or whatever. I will throw cards on the Roll20 table that will be D20 pictures. This is known as a Dread Pool. Typically, I'll add 1 die every 30 minutes to the start pool, and I'll also add them after you use your inspiration, score a critical hit, or have a great moment of drama. When you attempt an action with no chance of failure, like taking the search or using object actions, you roll all the d20s in the Dread Pool. If you roll a 1, something terrible occurs, and I cut the Dread Pool in half, and then it starts building again.
The Dread Pool.
Yep. Emotional distress. It's kind of like if you're in horror checks, a little different. Emotional distress is a short nervous breakdown in response to continual stress. So, it's usually going to be a wisdom or charisma saving throw when I call for it. But when you're continually exposed to something truly terrifying or impossible to beat, I'm going to keep account of how your stress levels increase, and eventually I'm going to make you roll for short-term madnesses. Outcasts. Most people know this about Ravenloft. Every realm has some level of this. The level varies. But anyone who's not pure human is going to have some kind of disrespect. Basically,
Even me as a half drow.
not in all realms. It's easier for you than, say, Sean. Sean's going to have the worst time.
Who doesn't love drow unconditionally?
Right. So basically, when you go into a new domain, I will explain to you what the outcast level is. If you fall within that outcast, any social roll you make in that domain gets no proficiency bonus.
Yikes.
Wow.
Altered magic. Starting with divination. Divinations based on morality automatically fail. Don't try. Divinations to read someone's true form. Divinations used to read someone's true form or true intention will automatically fail. Don't try.
Cool. Works for me.
Spells that try to read the future, the dark powers like to meddle in it. They'll never give you outright false information, but I will say a thing in a specific way to make you think the wrong thing. Also, additional risks. Clairvoyance, clairsentience, arcane eye. Yeah. Fear and horror checks. Probably going to happen. The exception is Vistani, or half Vistani. They can fortune tell without all those problems.
What did I tell you?
So, all attempts... You had that choice, actually, when we went over races. That's what the Geomorgo was. All attempts to use divination to determine the moral alignment or true nature of a creature fail. Details of their nature, such as race, type, or origin, fail.
Cool.
Sometimes the attempt fails obviously, sometimes it fails spectacularly. Domain borders. If the Dark Lord closes their domain borders, you fail. No spell, ability, or effect of any kind can affect a closed domain border in any way. Don't try.
What do you mean by close its domain borders?
Dark Lord closes his borders, you can't leave until he opens them. What happens when you try to cross changes from borders. Like, sometimes you just fall out of the sky or hit a wall of mist. Sometimes you'll get lost in the mist and monsters will attack you. It depends entirely on the Lord.
Got it. Okay.
Question about that.
My favorite is the domain lord who's got one where all you can do is hear him laugh because he's insane and his laughter drives you mad after 5 rounds and you lose your character. I mean, 5 minutes. No save, just done. Yes, Eric.
Question: when they close the borders like that, does it go both ways? Like, can people not get into the realm?
It's up to him or her. They can also selectively close the borders, so only your party can't leave. They are gods in their own domains. Yes, they all have a weakness you can exploit, but they are all demigods. Planar travel. Only the border realms are accessible here. So, Border Ethereal, the local Shadowfell, or the Feywild, but it will always kick you back into Ravenloft when you're done. Outer plane spells of any kind automatically fail if you're trying to go there. If you're trying to summon, it works great. But that thing might not be able to go back, and I might get really mad about it, but who cares? It's fine. Everything's fine.
So you can just walk around with like an army of summoned stuff that can't get back where it needs
It is
to go?
possible for that to happen, yes. Of course, then if your summon monster dies, it's dead for real.
Awesome.
Everyone's favorite, resurrection. While many of the dead do not rest easily, souls that have passed beyond here don't want to fucking come back. Even the most powerful of magic can sometimes fail to restore a soul. Basically, if you cast a spell, the person being resurrected's got to make a Constitution saving throw of DC 15. Failure by 4 or less means it was traumatic but successful. You might come back mad or with a flaw or with a new dark shadow or a new personality. But you're fine! Failure by 5 or more means that you only got part of the soul back, and I get to pick the kind of undead PC you are now.
Oh my god.
Cool.
Optional rule that I use, magic rating. Not every, because this is something that used to exist in the old versions, Eric will remember. Not every land has the same level of magic, so locations have a rating of 1 to 6. Most are around 3 domains. Really high-tech realms will have less, the really low-age realms will have more. Magic ratings of 6 are very rare. Basically, in order to use a spell slot equal to or higher than 4 plus the rating requires you to make an ability check. So, whatever your primary spellcasting ability is. So if the magic rating of the domain is 1 and you want to cast a 5th level or 6th level spell, you're going to have to make an intelligence or wisdom check to even make it work. If it fails, you burn the slot, no spell.
Fuck.
If the magic rating is 6, however, on a short rest, you can regain a 1st or 2nd level spell slot in addition to any other short rest benefits you get.
So the higher the better, yeah.
Yeah. There also might be other effects depending on the realm. Also, sometimes the magic rating is tied to a school, not all of magic. You know, like Darkon making necromancy really potent. Moving on. Curses, we touched on that. We're not doing that again. Dark powers checks. Anyone who commits evil deeds, basically of any kind here, attracts the attention of the darkness. Whenever you knowingly perform an
Darkness.
evil deed, I will ask you to make a powers check. If you fail, you've attracted the attention of the dark powers and gain an increased level of corruption. If you succeed, nothing changes. No ability or feature can modify this roll or allow a reroll. You roll once, that's what you get. And it's a flat roll. The DC varies wildly. So the example I gave Sean the other day is Sean decides that Steve pissed him off because Sydney sucks. So Sean says, Steve, I'm going to steal your food tonight and you're going to go to bed hungry. Okay, I don't need a dark powers check for that. Sean says, I'm going to steal all your clothes and your equipment and everyone's going to leave and leave you naked in the woods. Sean's going to roll with a DC of like 3 or 4.
True story, by the way.
Which means if he rolls under that, he fails. Equal to or above succeeds. If Sean says, okay, Steve is trying to attain a party goal by rolling charisma on this person, and I sabotage his efforts by making him sound like he's making fart noises, and it ruins the party's goals, DC is going to be like a 6 or a 5 or a 6. If you do it and it ruins the party's goals, and as a result someone dies, your DC is jumping to 8 or 9. And then lastly, if you decide, I'm going to murder Steve, I'm going to make you roll like a DC 15. Unless, of course, you murdered him because you found out he was a doppelganger and the real Steve is in a jail cell somewhere. But you're still rolling because murder's murder. Back to DC 6 or 7. That's how it works with random examples.
Can I just start rolling now?
No.
He rolls.
If you consistently commit the same small crime or evil act, though, the DC is going to creep. The dark powers are more likely to respond to deliberately evil actions, being less interested in unthinking or casual evil. So, that's how I work. The way it
They're
works...
just gonna go down to town, do a little casual evil.
The way it works is you all have a corruption level. I can give you an idea for your own personal role playing if you don't want to become a Dark Lord, which you don't. I mean, I'll make you one and we'll build you a domain and it's cool, but your character's done. The typical categories that get the attention fall into these broad categories: betrayal, blasphemy, dark magic, and violence.
Violence.
Corruption can take mental or physical or social form, or sometimes spiritual. The stages of darkness are innocent, which none of you are, pure, or redeemed. You all start at pure, which is rating 0. Meaning you've never done anything super vile, but you're an adult. You're not innocent. Then they go to level 1, the caress, level 2, the enticement, level 3, the invitation, level 4, the embrace, and level 5, hey there, Dark Lord, how you doing? Redeemed, by the way, stupidly hard, but it can be done. And then when you hit level 5, it's not actually called Hello Dark Lord, it's called the Descent, where at that point you are overwhelmingly tempted to commit one spectacular act of ultimate darkness to become a Dark Lord, something real bad. There are no Dark Lords of minor crimes.
Yeah.
Then you gain all kinds of cool shit at that level, but on levels below that, it
The
depends.
Dark Lord of Petty Larceny.
Right. If it does happen to you, we will pick a path of corruption that fits your crimes, and then you'll get flaws, and you get new powers at each ascending level. And the powers are real sexy, because when you use them, I might make you roll corruption checks again. They are real broken OP sexy powers. Like Path of the Brute, where you're going to turn into a literal monster. Level 1, advantage on all strength-related checks and rolls forever. That's it. Flat, done. So, you know, every attack roll at all times, basically.
What if I'm the Dark Lord of tax evasion?
That would be a petty crime, sir, because taxes are theft.
But I did it a lot.
We all know that the most evil Dark Lord in the world is the Dark Lord of driving 5 miles under the speed limit.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that realm.
Those DCs are 20. Good luck.
Can we just go kill that guy?
We should.
Okay. Fear and
But you
horror.
can never get to him because you're stuck behind
Because you're
somebody
just
who's...
stuck in traffic.
they won't turn up.
His whole realm, no one can travel the speed limit.
And you got to turn left, but they'll never, like, turn. Yeah.
Nope, they're just going to sit there all day.
Everyone's favorite, fear, horror, and madness. So, we'll define these because everyone always thinks fear is dumb in D&D because why would a goblin scare you? Think of fear as this: shock, panic, and terror. If the situation calls for shock, panic, or terror, I'm going to make you roll. Horror is repugnance, revolt, or dread. That's why the dead body might make you make a horror check, not because it's horrible, because it smells bad, you threw up on it. And then madness is the result of too much fear and horror. Hold on.
I just pictured, don't disturb the crime scene. Oops.
So, you need new ability scores for all this awesomeness.
Yeah.
Sanity score. Because it's used so much in this game, you actually get a score for it. Roll 4d6, starting with Eric. Drop the lowest.
Ooh. So keep the highest 3.
Correct.
I got this right. Hold on.
No rerolls, even if it's shitty.
Hey, 13.
13 is your sanity. Sean, go.
Nice.
Nice. 15. Sarah, go. Nice. 15 again. Now let's let Steve get snake eyes all the way across.
I put it on the sheet right underneath flaws.
Nope, that's not
There's
bad.
nothing you can add there.
13. You all did pretty okay. I like it. Roll 20 is in your favor for this.
I like it.
So basically, when you make madness checks, a sanity saving throw will usually be a charisma or a wisdom saving throw. I'm sorry, horror and madness are usually charisma and wisdom based. Sanity saving throw will always use this. And you're all considered proficient in it.
Is there anywhere to put that on our sheet?
Not really, because I'd have to customize the sheet and it's roll 20 official.
I put it on there where it says under your flaws. There's like a little plus
That would work, yeah.
button there. If you hit that, you can put your value in there.
Oh.
And you can put your current and your.
And
and
then
your
proficiency
maximum.
bonus is always going to be... Steve, help us out with that. What's the formula for proficiency? It's
based on your class. So as you level up, the proficiency bonus goes up. It's going to be part of your character's grid.
And when that happens, this proficiency goes up too. Fear and horror.
So proficiency 2.
So I apologize. So this thing that we just rolled, this is an additional.
This
like,
is your sanity
attribute,
score.
This is,
Yeah.
So okay. So sanity, and then mine was 13.
And you're proficient in the save.
When you roll that, do you add your? You said you add your proficiency bonus.
It's the same as if, yeah, you're rolling a save
Okay.
you're proficient in. So
Got it.
your modifier plus your proficiency.
Cool.
As your sanity erodes, that number will drop.
Okay, so
Right.
sanity is 13. I use a modifier similar to, or I use a modifier as if I had a 13.
Yep.
Correct. So, what's that? A plus
1.
1? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, you'll just roll your modifier plus your proficiency bonus.
And then the number will drop. And then when the number drops a certain amount, you'll get madnesses like in Cthulhu, and then the number goes back up and resets. That's how we determine when I give you madnesses.
Interesting.
Fear checks, if you fail, you become frightened for 1 minute.
Ooh,
And you
that's
get the
not
effects of being frightened, and then you can try to resave. So it's like getting the status effect. It's a wisdom saving throw.
good. It's being feared.
Right.
Oh my.
And there's
That's
no
not good.
immunity to it. Even if you're immune to magical fear, you're not immune to this. Horror is a charisma check, and when you fail, you gain a short-term or long-term form of madness that I have charged for that are fun. That's all there is to that.
There's no calm emotion spell or anything like that that can
Treating madness
delay that.
madness can be treated with magical remedies, and you can also go to an asylum or take downtime actions to cure it. Yes.
But like specifically if you're feared, right? Like you can just
No, that
cast,
just
like,
wears off after the minute or until you make the save, like any other
Wow.
condition. Yeah.
shit. Yeah, that no good.
Last but not least, Mistways. A mistway is a known pathway through deep mist that goes to other places. This doesn't come up a lot in Ravenloft, but it will for you because you're going to be applying the Sea of Sorrows, which has a mistway to 3 other pocket islands in the mist, and also can take you out to the other ocean on the other side of the world. So basically, I'm going to touch on it because you're going to hear about it. You have to make a survival check to navigate with a variable DC that you cannot modify with any tool or navigation skill that relies on direction. Basically, you just sense the mists. Failure doesn't mean you fail. It means either it takes a really long time and you could starve to death and die, or you go somewhere you didn't want to.
You could say it was a missed opportunity.
Nice!
Oh!
I put that in my notes and said, how
Wow.
fast will Sarah get that? What were you going to say, Steve? You put your hands up.
Oh
Were
no,
you
I was
just
just
reacting?
doing like I was just sensing.
Got it. Resonance. This also is Sinkholes of Evil for those of you who've played Ravenloft and older versions of the game. Resonance is the memory of the land. The more you do a thing there, the more it affects the land. The ranks are from 1 to 5. And if the resonance affects you, it'll be a saving throw of various types with a DC of 11 plus rank. And it also might power you up if you do a thing that matches the resonance. So like Fey Resonance, Shadow, Spiritual, Destruction, and last but not least, Sinkholes of Evil.
Evil sinkholes.
Which basically means if you walk in Strahd's castle, you fucked. Non-evil creatures that enter a sinkhole of evil must make a charisma save. Failure gives you vulnerability to necrotic damage. And makes everything you attack with radiant resistant to your radiant damage. Plus they can do other things like unhollow. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a game that's going to involve a lot of ships. I have expansive rules for ship travel, ship operation, repair, maintenance, upgrades, combat including cannons, and all kinds of awesome random encounters. I'm not going to go over them all, because we'll do it as we play. It's more fun that way. But you should all know, especially those watching, Ghost of Saltmarsh is amazing. It's like a quarter of the book is dedicated to all things naval, and it's the best. It's so good.
Belly buttons.
You're not going to start with a boat, though. Sorry, Eric. You're gonna
Oh,
have to get
fuck
one.
me.
Wow.
All right.
Missed it. What?
Sarah nailed another pun and broke Sean a little bit.
Like, what the fuck do belly buttons got to do? Oh, fuck me.
All right.
Naval.
You know,
We're going to switch
Sarah-
maps again.
Sarah over here just mid riffing.
Because we're finally done with rules, now we're moving on to the
No.
land.
No. Terrible.
Ba-dum-bum.
Terrible.
This is your current modern day map of Ravenloft that you can now see without
very cool.
being stylized.
Ooh.
The Sea of Sorrows is the Western Sea. That's where you're going to spend most of your time. If you see white, that's mist.
Huh.
That's why it surrounds all the borders of the domains.
And don't you forget it.
Don't laugh at that. Don't laugh
No,
at
that one
Eric.
was terrible. That was not good.
The Shadow Rift in
No.
the middle, by the way, is just now forming when you guys enter the game. So it's not quite that big yet, but it's fine. It's still there, so you see it. You can see where Barovia is, Sean, and it's not going to be anywhere near where you start, but don't worry, you'll get there. So, the core. The dominant continent is known as the core. It's the hub of high culture and trade. Seas flank it to east and west, and a steep mountain range cuts across the middle, dividing the land geographically. The south and west are heavily forested, the woods becoming denser and wilder the further you get from the coast. Plains stretch across the east, while the north is a mix of terrain. Rough plains, woods, and marshland. Near the center is a fog-filled chasm, a wound in the landscape where lands seem to have just fallen away. The central lands of the core are dominated by rocky terrain and steep mountains. Small settlements are tucked away into valleys and dales, while roads weave through narrow mountain passages. These realms include Barovia, a monarchy ruled by the Lord Stradvan Zarevich.
Oh, he sounds cool.
Yeah. We should go hang out
His
there.
family's been ruling that land for generations. There's always a Zarevich in control of that land, Steve, yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
The isolated rural nation of Barovia lies deep in the shadows of the Balanok Mountains. We don't need to talk about that. Current ruler is Count Stradvan Zarevich XIII, who rules from Castle Ravenloft, perched high atop soaring cliffs overlooking the village. Also includes Borca, a feudal despotism. It's a mountainous nation in the land of intrigue and betrayal, secrets and poisoners. It is similar to Dementliu in attitude, which means more Renaissance cultured attitudes, at least in public. Church of Ezra started here. The Shadow Rift is not a true nation, but it's a hole in the world that things come out of. Dark things, fey things. If you're a drow, your bloodline came from here.
From the Shadow Rift.
Or the lands around it, or the lands that used to be there, yes.
Got it.
Wow. Okay.
The Eastern Lands. Faith dominates the Eastern Lands. Religion, superstition, or magic. The domains include Hazlan, rough and mountainous, purveyor of illicit goods, slaves, opium, and magic. It's one of the few lands with the schools that openly teach arcane magic. Nova Vasa, an aristocracy, a nation of contrast, cramped cities and wild plains. Most of the land is open prairie known for two things, grass and horses. But most of the people live in congested cities, for some reason. It also includes Tempest. This is a mountainous and wooded rural land lying nestled between the mountains of southeastern Darkon and the Shadow Rift. Superstitious insular people. The Northern Lands. This is the intellectual and scholarly heart of the core. Darkon, a monarchy. We'll get to that later, because it's going to matter a lot. Dominating the northern half of the continent, as you can see, it is massive compared to the other lands. It's a sprawling land ruled by King Azalin. It's a cosmopolitan nation, and it's more common here to see the non-human races, and they are much more commonly accepted. Lamordia. This northwestern corner of the core, a windswept land known as much for its adherence to science and logic as its cold and snowy winters. Lamordians are hardy folk who believe they can survive anything through willpower and hard work. Most of the core's recent advances in technology come from Lamordia, including clockworks, medicine, and firearms. There are people who visit there, come back with impossible tales others would mock, about massive machines and futuristic devices that fly in the sky, and clockwork automatons that can talk and speak, like one made out of brass with a cleaver in his head.
Huh. I don't know what you're referencing.
I don't either. Southern Lands, Nvidia. Nvidians are passionate folk, making video cards and wearing their emotions on their
I
sleeves.
was about to say, how many
like,
frames per
what?
second do they get?
And hot words quickly become drawn daggers. And by the way, it's spelled exactly the same, except it starts with an I.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rulership of this land is taken by violence, with the current tyrant, Malokio Adair, having seized control from a Vistani witch, who herself killed the lord before her. Cardicus. At the southern edge of the Balanox is the rough-wooded nation of Cardicus. It's a nation of singers, storytellers, and poets. Each settlement ruled by a Meistersinger. It's rumored that somewhere wandering that land is the only good-aligned lich to exist. Sithicus. The haunted southern reaches of the Great Forest are increasingly obscured by mists, with the trees growing tall and broad. Here lies the enchanted woodlands of Sithicus, and the elves who will sing you to your doom. Many elves come from here. It's the only other... You can't be from here, though, Steve, because it's the wrong kind of dark elf. This is Kryn. Time flows strangely here, with travelers emerging to find days have passed when they expected weeks or months instead. The land is ruled by the dwarf Azrael, who assumed command after the disappearance of the land's former ruler, a knight known only as the Black Rose.
Wow, yes.
Valakan. Farthest west of the forested nations, the isolated land of Valakan is bordered by the mists on two sides and the fairy land of Sithicus on a third. Its population is quiet and reserved, valuing a self-reliance. If you can't kill it, you don't own it. Verbrek. Few people hail from the wooded nation of Verbrek, and the population of this uncivilized land is mostly trappers and hunters, living in a few well-defended homesteads. It seems the true inhabitants and owners of this land are wolves, some that walk. The Western Lands, where you will mostly exist. The cultural hub of the core, known for urban areas and cultivated farmlands. Not probably the least densely populated, but also having the largest cities. Dement-Lieu, France. Enough
what?
said. Classical France.
Wait.
Enough said.
What? Rika who?
Dement-Lieu.
The West
Dement, L-I-E-U.
No, that's not a real word.
Coast.
People there are known as Dement-Lieus.
Bless you.
The nation is well known for its squabbling noble families, courtly intrigue, and always having the latest fashions and being literate. They even have social programs for the poor. It's a very forward-thinking and what's the word for France in the old days? For people who were, having sex is cool. There's a word for that.
Hedonist?
No, there's an older word for that. Shit.
Cool.
It'll come to me later.
Horny.
Falkovnia. The militaristic nation of Falkovnia is the breadbasket of the Corps. But their king only cares about conquest, always invading the nations around him, but somehow his attacks always fail in the end. But not before lots of people die. Mordant. This small, bleak, rainy nation, England and Scotland, shares a people and loose culture with Dement-Lieu, France, to the north. Mordant is a quiet, rural nation of farmers and fishermen. Its noble families moved north to the courts of Dement-Lieu, leaving abandoned manor homes dotting the countryside. Lots of ghosts here. It's weird. Wild, desolate moors, baying dogs. It's all here.
Selkies, maybe.
Maybe Selkies. Rishmallow.
In a stoned half-drow.
Rishmallow is an aristocracy. It's trying to be like Dement-Lieu, but it's like two versions of France existing at the same time. Doesn't work very well. They don't get along. The aristocracy of Rishmallow is more open, and people are defined as much by their wits and skill as their wallets, allowing the cunning and proficient to ascend in social status. Next, we have the Eastern Sea, known as the Nocturnal Sea. A heavy fog perpetually obscures the water, making travel slow and difficult, even turning day into night. It's got a few key places: the Isle of Ravens, a small, insignificant island with no docks and lots of birds. It's fine.
Alfred Hitchcock was
The Isle de la Tempête. This small island is nothing more than a navigational hazard that you're gonna wreck your shit on, and is
At least it has a
perpetually
lighthouse.
frozen, even in summer. It's weird. Some say Crazy Wizard lives there. They're probably crazy.
Some say a crazy wizard lives there.
Those people
but
are
they're
crazy.
But they're the crazy
people
ones.
And
That guy's
Vekor.
normal.
And Vekor, a land on the far side of the Nocturnal Sea, rarely visited by outsiders because the landscape always changes. Features and landmarks change every few days. Even the forests rearrange themselves. People who live there live in cities where the buildings are impossibly angled, ruled by someone called Isan the Mad. It's probably a good time. You should go there. The Western Sea, your home, known as the
Are they
Sea
just
of...
partying on the walls?
They can. The Western Sea, your home, known as the Sea of Sorrows. This body of water allows trade between the core worlds and realms and many of the exotic foreign locales, as well as swift travel down the coast. Islands of note, although there are many being discovered all the time. Blostine. No one goes to Blostine because that's where the pirates go. It's ruled by the craziest pirate of them all, known only as Bluebeard. People who land there, if they come back, never return a second time. However, there's ports there, and no one asks questions. Black Market? Yeah, go there.
Would my character have been there on occasion by herself?
Unlikely.
Darn.
Not at your level.
Blaustein.
You've heard of it, though. Obviously. Dominia,
Bucket
a
list.
small island surrounded by jagged rocks. Its primary population is hungry wolves. It is home to the Hindfroth Asylum for the Insane, along with its staff and inmates. It houses the most unhinged and demented minds from across the core, and its chief doctor is the most renowned and revered doctor of psychology in the world. A fine fellow with no flaws at all. Markovia! This uninhabited island is at best a shipping hazard. It is known only because of its population being savage beasts. The exact nature of the beasts is unknown, as they're not visible from the shore, and none have been recovered.
Which isle is this?
Markovia.
Oh, that's
the big one.
Markovia.
There appears to be an ancient monastery with people there, but no one knows why monks would live there. Gastria,
Yeah.
an island of brooding artists. It's a burgeoning cultural center. The inhabitants earn a living fishing or farming, but spend all their time painting, sculpting, or writing. Lots of the youths go there.
Sounds like a cool, chill time.
Right.
It's Austin on water.
Last but not least, we have the clusters. Clusters are
Ew.
places that exist only lost in the fog. Sometimes mistways find them, sometimes they just appear. The Amber Wastes.
The amber wastes
Home
of
to
grain.
Harakir, Farazia, and Sebua, which you wouldn't know anything
Harakir.
about except
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
their names.
Yeah.
The Frozen Reaches, home to Sanguinia Verostikov. Sanguinia and Verostikov.
What are these words? What are we doing here?
Where is Harakir on the map?
None of these
Sanguinia sounds like
are because
blood.
they exist only in the
Sanguine.
mist. You can only get there through
Oh.
mistways.
Fuck. Okay, got it.
The Shadowlands, which include Avon Lane and Nidala. The Verdurous Lands, which include Saragos, Sriraji, and the Wildlands. Oh, and Sanguinia and Verostikov, it's weird. There's a mountain separating them, and their rulers are always trying to kill each other, but no one ever does. You've heard the name. Starts with a V. Not a big deal. Moving on. Individual islands that don't connect.
Vincent.
Yes. Individual islands that connect to nothing. Blewett Spur. I don't know what you'd have heard about that.
It exists.
It pops out of the mist sometimes, and when it does, inhabitants flee for Barovia, because Barovia is a much better place.
Okay.
Ow.
Farrell. Another wildland full of dangerous predators with 2 random towns. Gehenna. A starving land of religious zealotry.
Fitting.
The nation is a
Sounds
bleak
fun.
wasteland, beaten by the wind and sun, draining the soil of life. Knossos, a heavily industrialized nation, buried under its own garbage and toxins. They have factories. It's one big factory lost in the mist. Odier.
Let it stay there.
Odier is a single solitary village, just in the mist. Just the one village. A lot of puppet shows in that place. A lot of puppet shows. What's Sarah?
Puppet shows.
Why?
You may have visited Odier in a previous game.
Oh god, never go there.
Rokushima Taiyu. The 6 islands of the sun. Even though there's only 4 islands. Moving on. If you want Eastern Devils, that's where you go. Far Eastern.
Oh no.
Suran. A seaside swampland. Lots of bugs. And bugs. Hags. 3 of them especially. Staunton Bluffs. A big old plain with a castle no one ever goes to. And Zarigia. Entirely comprised by the metropolis of Paradon.
Oh.
It's the one place from Eberron that exists here, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Oh. Sea of Sorrows. Since you're going to be in it a lot, we'll touch a little bit on what you might run into so you're not totally unprepared. Hazards of oceaning in Ravenloft. The Sea of Sorrows is always choppy, heavy waves, and cold. The sun never comes out all the way. It's always foggy and overcast. Without a magnetic compass, don't wander too far from the site of shore. There's no way to navigate. Sometimes the islands just move. Blue holes.
So the islands are assholes.
A blue
Everything
hole.
here is an asshole.
The
Yes.
blue hole is
We-
literally an asshole. It's just blue.
We've been over this.
Just
This whole realm.
it's still sinking in for me, okay, guys?
Blue holes. A blue hole is a circular sinkhole that forms on the bed of a sea in shallow water. The deep blue water is your warning. They don't suck you in, but they've always got cool shit in them that'll never eat your face.
Okay, sweet.
You'll know what a
Sure.
coral reef is, yes. We don't have to talk about that.
Well, how does the coral reef fuck us up here in Ravenloft? Because I'm sure it does.
Because it's always mist and fog shrouded and the sun's not out, so they're hard to see before you run aground.
And it's alive and eats us, right?
And sometimes they move.
Right.
And then you get a ship hole.
Currents! The
In the
currents
blowhole.
are actually strangely reliable. It's just they might not always take you to the same place because the destination moved.
Hmm.
The currents are reliable.
Okay. The currents are cool. Cool.
But they're bastards because they don't change with the new landscape. So
You
they're
know
still
what?
kind of assholes.
If one thing's consistent and the other thing can't figure out its shit, then I give credit to the thing that's like consistent. At least you're going the right place.
The
Steve
mist.
doesn't like change.
The mist has specific effects in the Sea of Shadows, except at the borders where it's just regular Ravenloft mist. Within the borders of the sea, though, and you can always tell the mist from fog because the mist is always like fingers coming for you.
Hmm.
It breaks down into 3 effects when you sail into it. Ghost fog, shadowfall fog, wild magic fog. You can probably elaborate from there on what you're going to get.
Hmm.
Kelp forests. There are parts of the Sea of Sorrows that are just entire forests of kelp that can tangle up your rudder. It's real bad.
Hmm.
Also,
Only we had some sort of
I'd rather not
somewhere
find those.
somewhere outside of Markovia, the location seems strangely to move, is a wreck of a boat. No one remembers the boat's name. They just call it Soul Kraken's grave. I'm looking at Sean. The Soul Kraken is the Kraken of the Sea of Sorrows. Why do they call it the Soul Kraken? Because sometimes you can see through it, sometimes you can't see it at all while it sinks your boat. But it's still there.
With a soul kraken. Wow. What's kraken soul?
There are also magical storms, sandbars, snow that saps the life out of you, shipwrecks, whirlpools, and other fun things.
Yeah.
Is a sandbar a cash bar or
It is not a Casbah, no.
yeah, a cash bar? Sandbar.
Okay. Let's talk about Darkon. Because that's where
Yes.
you're going to start, and that's where Eric's from.
Dark.
This is Darkon, the whole thing. Squished real good for you. Darkon! We have always been citizens of Darkon. Ave Azalin, long live the king. Darkon is an accepting land, and a large land, and a fruitful land, but it's also a cursed land, ruled over by King Azalin Rex, rarely seen. It's got a lot of problems. Currently, the biggest problem is the Crimson Death. It's a red mist that'll just show up, wash through a town, you get sick, and then you'll undie.
Cool.
Is there a way to escape it?
Yeah, don't stand in it. Don't breathe it. Wash your hands and wear a mask and social distancing.
Get the fuck out of there, yeah. Move as fast as you can. Away.
Darkon has lots of areas where, for some strange reason, necromancy works really well, and there's an awful lot of undead here in the woods and shit.
Hmm.
Okay. Let's see, what do we care about? Sunlight! Darkon is shrouded against the light of the sun, moon, and stars. Day or night, everything is muted, and there's always enough of a fog so that, like, I don't know, say you're a vampire, you could walk around whenever you wanted to.
That's convenient.
It's like that in Barovia, too. It's weird.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
Darkonians are gregarious to a fault, welcoming to strangers, and encouraging you to pay due homage to the Wizard King. Except it's obvious that they love the king. Through terror. Because it's weird. You'll just disappear if you speak out against the king. He's just like, gone. Because of the Kargate. The secret police. Those who express malcontent vanish from the face of the earth once the secret police find out, and they always do. The only part that really matters to you for now is the Jagged Coast. But the other realms are the Forest of Shadows, the Necropolis, the Boglands, the Mistlands, the Vale of Tears, the Mountains of Misery, the Castle of Vernus, where one day Sean will punch a lich.
He's gonna lick that lich.
Nice.
give him a real licking.
See the red circle? Thus is where Saltmarsh exists in Ravenloft. Thus is where I have placed it.
I see. It's kind of like right there.
Kind of like
I like
right
it.
there.
Is that little thing?
Everyone who lives on the jagged coast loves the sea for one reason or another. It's a wind-swept coastline dotted with hills and bordered by dangerous cliffs that drop sharply into a treacherous ocean. The cliff line is legendarily unstable, just like falls into the water sometimes. Sinkholes, you know, it's fine. Also, the Crimson Death is here. It's a lethal plague and has a kill rate of 20%, 1 out of 5. It's easily contracted. Death occurs within days if it's not cured, which is hard and rare, as you bleed out through your skin until you're dead. And then you stand up and walk away.
Guys, my skin is leaking.
Is there perhaps
Fine.
a masquerade ball that's being held?
This disease targets any creature with blood, including creatures that feed on blood. See, that's good. Mind flayers and vampires are going to die with you.
So Sean's character's safe then.
True.
When a humanoid creature is touched by a creature that carries Crimson Death, or when it comes into contact with blood, offal, or corpse tissue, con save or get it yourself.
Wow.
It can survive in corpse tissue for decades. Takes 2d12 hours to manifest. You get fever and disorientation, and then you itch, and then you bleed through your skin until you die.
Lovely.
Okay. The big town we'll touch on too, that you can see on the map south of you, is Martira Bay, the city of brides.
Of brides?
That's what it's called, yes. Used to be a humble fishing village, but our Lord and King Rex has made it the powerhouse it is, the most powerful port city in Ravenloft, in the Domains of Dread. It's a medieval world, but the ship technology here is as advanced as you can get in Ravenloft. Lots of cool places here, we don't need to worry about that until you go there, but it is the powerhouse of your coastline, whereas you guys are a small fishing town trying to make a name for itself. Which means we're moving on to Saltmarsh. Saltmarsh. I'm gonna scroll the people watching map a little bit and zoom out. Zoom out a lot. And a lot more. And a lot more. There we go.
That is a big fucking map. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
It's got roughly 5,000 residents. It's predominantly human with a dwarven mining contingent and a few elves and halflings that draw no special notice. Anything else, though, like tieflings or dragonborn or whatever, are met with a mix of curiosity and maybe fear, depends on how you act. It's a bastion of civilization in the midst of that untamed forest. Without its defenders, it might have long ago fallen to wolves that walk and undead monsters. It's got 200 trained warriors serving in the town guard, with good equipment and stabby swords. Some of them are magic users. They also have 100 member cavalry and a militia of 500. It's pretty intense for security. And it's got a small force of marines to patrol the docks. No one loves. So, another thing we didn't touch on was on the coast of the Sea of Sorrows, no one likes pirates. Because the sea itself will kill you, so all of the lands, no matter what their disagreements, will unite against a pirate. The commerce is, of course, fishing and trading, mining, and people say smuggling. I'm sure that's a lie, right, Sarah? No bustling black market here.
No smugglers here. I would know nothing about that. Nope.
It's a place of constant energy. Few of the common folk are so affluent they can afford to sit idle. At Fogrise, the docks bustle with fishers preparing to venture out for the day, and at Fogfall, they return spending time mending nets, fixing the boat, and unloading their catch. Very rowdy at night. No one leaves the town because the woods are bad. Bad woods. It's bad.
Oh, yeah.
Bad woods, bad.
When we begin, you are drinking buddies. You've done a few jobs together, done a couple bounties, some minor smuggling, found a lost kid once.
Aw.
looking for the
Yes.
name of the bar I want you to hang out at. Go
you
ahead, Steve.
guys,
Starts in a bar.
like,
Jeez.
remember when we found that kid that was lost?
Which one?
That was cool, man.
I don't understand what you mean by it's cool, man. There's nothing colder but this world that we're in. This terrible trap that is bleeding to death.
I like it already.
We're all trapped inside. So no, I don't know what you mean when you say that it is cool, man.
So, I'm going to let you get into character by role-playing with each other for a moment while you're having some mugs of ale at night after a hard day's work at the Undead Tell No Tales Inn and Tavern on the docks.
Undead tell no tales.
That's correct.
This ale is equivalent
And
to
I'll be right back while you do that.
piss.
Our Master Braz, always the pinnacle of joy.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Yes. Cheers.
He might be out. Last drop. I'm on.
How is it that
Guys,
you drink,
drink anyways.
exactly?
Well, you see, it goes down me belly, into me gullet.
No, you
And
don't
then-
have that. You're a machine. We've been over this before,
No,
have we not?
No, I'm alive. So,
Braz.
Relatively
Braz,
speaking, I suppose.
Braz. Man. You can't say things like that.
I believe I just did.
You
and that's why we love
shouldn't
you.
say things like that.
Don't
Please
play
illuminate
shit.
as to why we shouldn't say things. Elador.
It has feelings. Like inside.
Not in it.
It is a magical construct made to elicit emotion. It is not like you and I, with fleshy bits and pieces
Not in
that
it.
can quaff a drink and admire its potency.
Hey, Copper.
Its
Don't-
very name denotes
Don't-
something that is bitter to your taste buds.
Don't listen to him, man. Don't listen to him. He's just.
He's just
He's chaotic dreary.
Chaotic. Dreary.
somebody write that down,
va-
please.
I'm on it. I'm totally on it.
You're awesome, man. You're so cool.
I am indeed
And
awesome.
I
I
not.
am a mage,
Man.
terrible in my power
He's.
and in my purpose.
You work on a fishing boat.
It is a
Arr,
boat.
but don't be diminishing what we do. Everybody has their place. Like the old captain used to say, you has your place, and in your place you hasn't.
Wise man.
Whoa.
Indeed.
Whoa. I like that. That a
Enlightened.
lot. I'm enlightened.
Oh, wow. You guys are not going to make it for adventure, Steve's right.
All right, be thinking he might be having a problem.
Don't we all?
No.
Hmm?
And that's when it occurs to Long John Silverpants.
Shit,
Oh,
that is what I should have fucking called him.
Saving that one all day.
wow.
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 You're welcome.
Long John Silverpants.
Long.
It's Captain Rustbeard.
God damn it.
You've always heard the stories about a certain place, but everyone seems a little restless. and apparently don't want to do fishing no more. So you're like, maybe we could do the thing and get some name and some fame for ourselves, and maybe there's some money in it to be had too. One never knows.
I just want to say, guys, I think fishing is like
Banal.
the best profession in the world.
But do you want to
Wow.
be being a fisherman all your life? Don't you want to aspire to nothing?
I mean, I had a dream that I fished all the places.
You've heard some rumors about
Fascinating.
a certain place in town, Long John Silverpants. There's a haunted house near Saltmarsh, a house of ill repute, a house that no one goes to because the ghosts are terrifying.
A
is it a
haunted
house
of
house
ghosts?
of, it's a haunted house of ill repute.
Yes, for 2 decades.
Prostitutes? Ghosts.
I have a dream.
For 2 decades, it's been sitting there with nothing but stories and rumors and terror. For years, tales of the haunted house have circulated through the region. Though most of the stories are rightfully taken as warnings to avoid the place, rumors persist of a great treasure hidden in its walls. What relics or other valuables did the old alchemist who once lived here keep in the creaking floorboards and cracked plaster walls of his own? He lived a hermit's life with few visitors and fewer friends. But a young messenger once emerged from the house with the story of a grand library containing countless tomes. Retellings of the messenger's tale have varied over the years, with the most popular versions suggesting he learned how to make a philosopher's stone.
What about the house? Enough talk of fishing. What about the house that we heard about?
I thinking we must be investigating it. Might
For
earn
once, the
some
machine.
coin.
For once, the machine says something intelligent and true. Perhaps
not
we
a mission.
should.
You know, a place like that, it's kind of scary. And
Yeah.
there's ghosts, and I don't know if you guys know, but sometimes ghosts are assholes.
Well,
You're
we are
not-
in the land of assholes, aren't we?
You're not from around here, are you?
Una, you've been quiet this whole time.
I know. I've been thinking about fishing, and I've been thinking about treasure, and I've been thinking about, well, using skills I haven't used since I was a wee babe. Maybe not a babe, but it'd be fun.
Two out of those things that you mentioned can be had if we simply avoid this whole fishing expedition of yours and focus on something like the house.
Do you consider that the fish are the treasure?
Jesus Christ.
You see, just like me old captain used to say, if you aspire to be nothing, you'll aspire to be nothing. Nothing will
Do you believe he's
nothing will
encountered a
inspire
glitch?
you.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'm saying,
man.
what I'm saying is, why don't we just go to have a look, take a look, and see if we can't find any trinkets that might earn us an extra cup of coin or a cup of ale.
I am for it.
Or a new net.
A new net. See, a life goal if I ever heard one.
You can claim whatever you want, but my treasure, as it were, lies in those books and the lore that has been lost inside of that house.
So it's settled
It
then.
is mine.
You can read?
Yes.
What is
Can you?
Our
Sometimes.
Elidor, I knew you'd be touched, but you're extra today.
I was just trying to make him feel good that he could read, because it seems like he's not very happy, so I wanted to praise him. And I think I nailed it.
Our bartender, get this young lad a cup of coffee and let's be off.
Oftentimes I'm happiest when I am reading, preferably in a place where it is quiet.
I don't think coffee will help him. He's been smoking the seaweed.
There's
No.
a particularly good kind of kelp this time of year. However, before you
The
venture
ocean
off,
provides.
before you venture
No,
off,
the ocean provides.
you all gain an inspiration point to start with, which will carry over to next week since we're not going to get real far if you don't use it. And Steve gets 2.
Cool.
Now, because remember, you picked up on the crap, what's his name? Yeah.
The ghosts.
And then, the same way we
Most of
do
the most.
the talk for the pick your favorite for Cthulhu, it'll be the same here, only you get a card for the next session. Now, they're cards
cool.
here, which means you can do the cool thing your shadow gives you. Also, they all give you advantage like a normal card. However, the suit and the card number itself gives an added bonus. So, if you get swords... Okay, so first I'll back up and say they all do the same thing normal inspiration does, advantage on a roll. If you can also... It's attack rolls, ability checks, or saving throws. Additionally, each suit of the minor arcana is associated with a specific type of check. If you play the card to gain advantage on that check, you add the number on the card as a bonus to the roll. A card without a number is a +5.
Wow.
So, swords, attack rolls, coins, ability checks, glyphs, saving throws, stars are also saving throws. However, instead of the plus, after you play the card, you roll a d10. If you roll lower than the number, or if the card doesn't have a number, I gain the card, which I can use.
Oh, fuck.
Not the bad guys.
With inspiration, can't you also re-roll?
It's advantage. So,
Oh.
it's basically a
Ah,
reroll,
okay.
yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the High Arcana is only used for reading fortunes in Ravenloft, which will definitely happen.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to deal you the card. You can flip it over and look at it. When you're done with it, just delete it. It returns it to the deck. That's how I know you've played it. So you're all going to get one to start.
Yay.
Enjoy.
You have a list of what they were again? Yeah, swords, stars, clovers, horseshoes, and blue moons. Something like that.
It's the suits. You'll see them on the card. Swords, coins, glyphs, and stars. Swords are attack rolls, coins are ability checks, glyphs are saving throws, and stars are saving throws, plus I can take the card.
Ah.
I don't want you to take my card.
Now, if you play the card for its associated roll, you can use the card for any kind of advantage. But if you play it on its associated roll, you get an additional bonus equal to the number of the card, or 5 for an ace. You should all have your cards. Steve, you're getting your next one.
Ooh. Cool one.
And so people at home can see what's happening, and we'll pull one out for them to see. They can see the mercenary, 4 of swords. A card would give you advantage on attack rolls, an additional +4 to the roll.
So a star is something you play on a save.
Yes, but I can also take the star. When you play it, you'll roll a d20, and if
Use
you
it.
roll low, I get to use it also on a monster.
Boo.
Oh, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what I have.
What do you-
Same.
Like, I don't like. I'm not sure which one this is.
The suits in the upper right and lower left, the numbers in the upper left and lower right.
Right.
It's either going to be a sword, a coin, a weird glyph, or a star, or a crown.
I assume that has to be a coin then. Okay. Stop, Sean.
Stop what?
She's trying to steal my card.
Oh, wait, what?
Don't
Oh,
click on other
steal
people's
card.
cards. Do
Weird.
not do that,
Alright.
because then I
Already?
have to
Man.
lock the cards down and everyone's life is a nightmare.
Everyone's life is a nightmare.
Everyone, Sean is a card thief. Don't play cards with him.
Fitting considering we're in Ravenloft.
Is that a minor crime to the Dark Lord?
Sure, yes. It would make you
Trying to
roll,
steal
yes.
inspiration.
Every time you guys say Dark Lord, I think of the cat on Instagram.
There's a
Dark Lord.
Yes!
Also,
and
you
I
have
love him.
you have affiliated suits, and when you do tarot readings, your affiliation will affect the outcome. So Eric, your affiliation is stars. Mark that down somewhere.
Okay. Stars. Affiliation. Okay.
Sean, yours is glyphs. Sarah, yours is crowns, and Steve, yours swords.
So, what do crowns do? Are they the same as stars, or?
This has nothing to do with advantage cards. This is something that'll come into play next week or after, when you start doing actual tarot card readings in the world. Tarot card readings in Ravenloft aren't just me giving you hints about your future, they actually give you bonuses and penalties. So
Huh.
like,
I'm sure once we do one or two of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like in the real world, you get the death card, it means bad things are going to happen, and that's the end of it. In Ravenloft, you get the death card, you now have disadvantage to negative energy attacks forever, for instance. They change your character. Your fate becomes that dealt by the cards. If, however, you draw a tarot card on a reading equal to your affiliation, you get superpowers.
Nice.
Fate is on your side. Basically, at the start of each full session, I'll pull cards, one for each of you. We'll flip it over, and it will denote potential events and give you a bonus or a penalty for that session. If it's your suit,
Ooh,
super bonus.
sweet.
Oh my goodness, I can't.
And occasionally, because they'll be drawn when you enter the room, I will have picked them on purpose. And they will actually give you hints on what's going to happen.
Sweet.
That's how it works, yes. Back to you.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, you got both your cards, Steve? Yeah, you're good.
I do. And it's night, right? Because we're in the bar hanging out.
It's evening, correct.
Evening. Okay. So, you guys wanting to go to this haunted weird house tonight?
Yes.
Dude,
What better time to be seeing spirits?
and it's perfect because if we get caught trespassing, we won't get in trouble.
I think you don't understand, Elidor. Spirits don't choose a particular time to come out. They simply do that.
Oh, do you know that for sure?
Positive.
Yeah, no, I know that ghosts just like hang out all day.
Absolutely.
I do that. No.
I do that, no.
I'm just saying that maybe we don't want to go to the abandoned creepy house in the middle of the night.
That's very.
could, like-
That's a fair point, Elidor. I suppose I'll get whatever it is share you would have gained from the spoils. Thank you for your contribution.
Ah,
Are you just going to be sleeping on your dinghy all night?
That's how now.
you know, I feel like my input's not being really adjudicated here.
Adjudicated.
That's a very big word for you.
And, you know, I'll go with what the group wants. I just wanted to throw it out there that maybe us doing the dumbest thing possible wasn't a smart idea.
Noted.
I think
Cool.
your supply of seaweed needs to be cut off for a little bit.
I don't
Let's go-
think that's necessary.
We'll get you some fresh air. Come on.
A walk. Go for a walk.
We'll go for a walk.
Yeah.
It just happens to lead to a haunted house. It's fine. Everything is fine.
This is gonna get real bad real quick.
No,
Okay.
it's fine. Come on, mate. Let's go.
The house is located 4 miles up the coast from Saltmarsh and is accessible, words, by an old road.
That is a long walk in the middle of the night.
Evening, not night yet.
Okay.
The road to the house winds through the
Already.
rocky coastal terrain,
Already the smartest character in the party.
often
Nope.
offering a view of the sea below. Low clouds press upon you. Occasional patches of ice-cold moonlight appear out over the water. A stiff wind blows in off the waves, carrying the briny stink of churning salt water.
Briny
You
stink.
approach the house.
Smells like home.
So
Smells like death. You should be able to see a whole lot of nothing. Is that pretty accurate?
that
That
is in
is
fact
accurate.
accurate.
Correct.
As we get closer to the house, though, I kind of it's like, okay, guys, for real, like, why are we messing with ghosts?
No, we're not messing with ghosts. We're messing with the stuff in the ghost house.
Correct. We're not here to visit spirits. We're here to acquire the things that were left here.
They're dead.
treasure.
What do they need with anything?
I look
Nothing.
around. How many ghosts do I see here?
Oh, I
And don't
forgot.
you talk to ghosts in the first place, Mr.
Stand by.
Amador?
I
see
can make your day
ghosts
worse. Stand by.
uncontrollably, guys.
Hold on. To do
That
this,
should
I
make
thought
to
you
do
less
this, I
afraid.
gotta real quick. Just
I
gonna
thought
put
you
you on
can
the battle
speak
map.
to spirits.
You can see that just a bunch of blue now, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dabba dee, dabba die.
This is you, even though strangely there's no halfling in your group. Approaching the house, Steve. Yeah, it's fine. Everything's cool. Everything's fine.
Mm.
How many ghosts do you see?
In this picture?
At least 5.
Oh yeah, there's one in the window.
No, in the wall.
Mine's just taking a while to de-res, so I have no idea.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, Eric. It's just a creepy
So-
house picture. Just to make
Like
Steve
the old
feel
captain
ominous.
said, if you do nothing to gain, you gain nothing.
True
you-
words haven't been
Your
spoken.
captain. Interesting fellow.
He was wise.
I just, man.
Also, for anybody watching, Steve, I'll say it out loud because I forgot
Sure.
to tell you before. They can assign a random card. They can take away a card, but if they do, I get it.
Oh shit.
And I can
Don't
either I
do
can
that.
either hand it back to a person of my choice or use it against them. It'll be random.
Oh.
Tyler kicks puppies. Don't help him.
Chat,
Or
do not help Tyler. Help us. This
Or-
is already hard enough.
and this is only once per session per viewer. They can give any one of you random disadvantage at any point.
Cool.
Again, he kicks puppies hard with both feet. He
That's
drop kicks
same.
Oh,
puppies.
the drop kick.
Yeah. Drop kicks puppies.
No one believes you, Sean, and you're getting all the disadvantage now.
Oh man.
Oh.
Because they're all going to be like, we're in his game. We're going to suck up to Tyler. Sean's mean for saying that.
That's not true.
BAM! I'm moving your tokens. Give me 2 seconds.
We have tokens? Oh no.
You
So,
do
yeah,
have
I'll-
tokens.
So
Are they
I'll-
selectable by us?
They are selectable
Whoa.
by you.
It's a lot of light. Alright.
Whee!
Oh, there I is.
Wait, nobody can see me doing this. This is actually kind of rad.
I don't actually know what your
Dynamic
view is
lighting.
like. Let's look and see. So people at home can see what it looks like to you also.
Are you floating your character around?
Yeah, because it does really cool shit with the dynamic lighting.
Yeah, dynamic.
I wish I
lighting
could
is
see
huge.
that.
Oh, you can't see it.
Oh my god, that's so fun.
Yeah, they're windows. It's cool.
So like we can look inside the windows.
Yes.
Yes, you can look inside the windows.
Oh, that's nifty.
You're first, Captain.
Alright, so,
Alright.
the house exterior. The decrepit house sits lonely and abandoned on the highest ground in the area. A straight drop to your death. Around it, a stone wall has crumbled in many places, giving way to decay and decrepitude, exposing the interior grounds and their menacing shadows that seem to be reaching for you. An ornate metal gate lies open at the west end of the road, creaking softly in a breeze. Wild flora grows throughout the inner yard, but all the years cannot hide the evidence of a once well-tended garden that sat here, the love long since gone. Near the house, the rotted and sagging wooden roof of a water well rises out of the tall grass that hides what dark secrets you do not know.
Are there any animals near here?
Perception check. First roll of the game.
There was a chat that says give that man disadvantage, but I don't know who he was referring to.
Give that man disadvantage.
Oh, I think they're
Probably.
talking about me.
They are.
Probably. I'm going to assume they're talking about you.
Your first roll will have disadvantage.
Okay.
First mate Rustbeard.
Perception roll for Elidor coming up.
When he's done, I would very much like to check the door and make sure it's safe for everyone and that there's no booby traps.
Booby.
I can't tell if it's just loading my roll. Well, oh, wait, there it is.
Yeah, nothing's come. There it goes. Oh, you got a natural 1 on your first roll.
Oh my.
Nailed it. Perfect. You know
Bring
what?
off golden.
You know what? Boom. That's my roll. Nailed it. Did exactly what I always do. I'm out. I'll catch you guys next week.
Oh man.
There are no animals at all here, and never were.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
It's like they never existed.
The house is 35 feet tall from ground to roof peak, and it's gabled with lots of holes where the shingles are missing. The wall is 6 feet tall where it's not collapsed. And the garden is perfectly safe and devoid of animals.
This place is as silent as a tomb.
You can explore the well, the garden, or try to go inside.
But are there ghosts of animals?
The house's interior, that you can see through the windows, is dilapidated and damp. Patches of menacing mold everywhere. Menacing mercurial mold? The woodwork is rotten. Cobwebs and dust are thick, and rubbish is everywhere. Plaster fallen from the walls and ceiling lies strewn across the floor like an explosion, along with the shattered remains of vandalized furniture. Fireplaces show no signs of recent use and are cold and empty.
Not interested in a well or a garden. There's treasure to be had here. It's likely going to be in the house, either in the attic or in some sort of a basement. I suggest we go inside.
Or,
Just
that was an alchemist's garden.
Meh.
Where?
The owner of the house was an alchemist, and he had a garden.
Yeah, I
Oh.
wanted to investigate the garden.
Not surprising in the least.
Okay. Is that on here? Hold on.
I'm
I feel
still
like-
outside the house.
I feel like... Oh, I see what they did. Okay. Yeah, you're still outside the house. You all are. I don't think you can get in unless I move you. I'm just trying to figure
Oh,
out...
is this like a porch or something? Oh, right.
Correct.
This is oh, right. Okay, I see now.
Ah, it's up there. Okay.
Can actually move.
Okay. I'm gonna put you all in a square, so don't move. Because it put that up here for some reason. The garden is north of you.
Oh my.
You approach, and anyone
There.
who wants, starting with Eric, can make an investigation or survival check to look around.
Look, it is a garden. There are things here that used to be alive.
You can do one or the other, but not both.
Survival or
Or investigation.
investigation?
Braz.
Investigation. Public roll. Fuck me.
Wow.
Wow.
Copper.
The
Survival or
exact
investigation.
It is the exact roll. The
So,
exact shit
That's
that he
amazing.
rolled.
That is. ridiculous.
Wow. So
Who
can
needs
I
your disadvantage, chat groom? We got all the disadvantage we need right here.
can I burn my inspiration to use my haunted power to get advanced investigation?
Yes.
All right. How do I do that? Do I gotta burn this card?
Delete the card if it'll let you. If it doesn't, pass to the right. It's one of those two that.
We'll throw it up on the board so we can see it.
Yeah, you can put it on the board too. I think.
Yeah, you should just be able to drag it up onto the board.
Yeah.
Put
it's
it up in the
enchanter.
northwest corner where everyone's looking. Yeah, there we go. The enchanter. If you
Yeah.
can't delete it, just like push it off to the side where we can't see it, and I'll deal with it later.
Card? No.
Much like everything else here, this garden
Alright,
is
so I'm gonna
dead.
roll investigation. Apparently
Okay.
at disadvantage.
At disadvantage, yes.
Thank you, chat.
We're wasting time.
it didn't really
Hey
matter.
chat. Hey chat, right here. Right here.
My turn?
You're viewing the well. You're like looking at the garden, but the well caught your attention, Copper. You notice a cluster of small mammal remains in the tall grass, like mice or squirrels or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he said there's no animals, so you're sure it's fine. Also, looking towards the garden, you're not actually gonna have to roll, sir, because you got what you needed. You
Bummer.
see that something large has made a burrow under the rose bush. And as you're looking at it, trying to figure out what's going on, do you tell the party?
Yeah, I definitely are tell the party.
Then you're not surprised when the giant weasels rush to attack. Roll initiative.
Fucking giant weasels.
I was gonna say,
The animals that weren't there.
you know, Braz, if we look around the garden long enough, we might find you a decent personality.
God.
Boom.
So
Like I
good.
said, I imagine that
Fucking
went
smoked
like,
him.
there's nothing here, that everything else is dead, and then the wild weasels come jumping out of the...
Wild weasels couldn't keep me away. I don't know.
Alright. Give me a wild weasel. Holy cow. A lot of monsters in this game. Hold on.
So does anyone else have to select their input value every time they want to roll?
Yeah, that's annoying.
I think I control that. I'll turn that off between sessions.
Okay.
Good initiative there, Steve.
Why am I in the front line?
I have apparently a 0 to initiative.
What's your deck score?
11.
That would be correct.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you got proficiency added to initiative.
Only in Pathfinder.
I don't like that.
Okay.
How close to the well are these things?
You're not in the well, you're in the garden. The well's a good distance away.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Why can I not pull off this token? Hold on. It gives me all its cool numbers, but not a sheet.
It don't give a sheet.
It don't give a sheet. Holy shit. Alright then. Good start, monsters. Also, it looks like Braz and,
Gotta select your tokens, man.
yeah, Steve's character.
Dang it. You're right. I'm sorry.
I gotta get used
Can
to
you-
your names.
can-
Elidor.
I was gonna say, can you custom put in that, or do you want me to reroll?
I can put it in if you roll. Yeah, if you roll worse on your second roll, I'll change it.
Okay, here we go. And boom.
Eric, is the 13 better or worse?
What?
Oh, you only rolled once. Braz I'm sorry, Elidor, is the 9 better or worse?
Better.
Okay. Alright. The weasels are first, but at least you're not surprised. Oh.
Damn weasels.
The weasels are hungry.
Goody, goody, goody.
What the what? How many
Wow.
attacks does this weasel get?
4 weasels, they all
four
go
of them.
first.
before. Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like...
All right.
This is painful.
24 would be
Okay.
on Braz. I'm guessing that's a hit on a wizard.
Yeah.
21 would be on Copper. Does that hit you, Copper? Yeah, that's gonna hit
hits,
this level.
yeah.
Now these two we gotta ask. 17 would be on Una. Does that hit you?
Probably.
Armor class 14.
Yes. And does a 15 hit you, Elidor?
Yes.
Damage for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like this.
Braz, 5 damage.
Oh,
Piercing teeth damage.
half dead.
Copper, 4 damage. Una, 6 damage. Good start, game.
Jeez.
And Elidor, 4 damage. And combat music, 50 damage of Sonic.
Ooh, +3. Damn. This fucking thing.
There we go. Okay.
Insane.
What?
Alright, Copper. Kill a weasel before they kill you.
I have
Before
no
they
hit
kill
points.
you.
Look.
Awesome. Level 1's great.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to. Nope, not gonna do that.
At least you haven't gone in yet. You can be like, I'm going home. We'll come back in the morning.
I'm gonna whip out my hand axe
Okay.
and I'm gonna chop at a dude.
Do it. A 15 does in fact hit the weasel for 5 damage.
Nice.
The weasel is not dead, but he's horribly wounded. He's gravely wounded. Your cleaver cleaves him nearly in twain.
Nice.
Raz.
Million twain.
Oh, you gonna take a move action or anything? Are you good?
Me?
Yes.
Can I just move over to the side a little bit? I'm gonna move to the side. Just gonna take a 5
Kill it
step.
either.
Okay. Raz. No, he did hurt it pretty good.
I guess I'll put on mage armor.
Okay.
That's a smart idea or not. Fuck it. I'll just hit this thing with chromatic orb.
Instead? Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll fucking move away.
A 13 does hit the weasel.
Bye bye.
Jesus Christ.
Damn, look at
Yeah,
all
that
that
weasel
damage.
explodes in a gory spray of effervescent acid gooiness that
Crap.
gets all over you.
Get away from me.
Oh, that's
Vermin.
fucking disgusting.
I
I'm
guess I say
targeting
that.
this one in front of me, the one that he didn't hit, and I'm moving away cautiously from this thing so I don't invoke a attacks of opportunity.
Okay.
I'm getting as far as fuck away as I can. I don't know how
You
far.
can only move 5 feet to avoid attack of opportunity, but if you move here, you're disengaged. Nobody can reach you. Until they
Okay,
move.
that's cool. That's cool. I'm fine with that.
Elidor.
Away.
I am going to kneel down and cast Animal Friendship on the people that bit me.
Okay.
Holy shit.
What's the DC, or what's the save? Is it willpower? Wisdom?
The spell lets you convince a beast you mean it no harm. The other one, the beast must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you for the spell's duration.
He succeeded.
I'm going to assume an 18 succeeds
Yeah.
at this level. Cool. Okay. Then in that case, so I cast spell. Nothing happens, and I pet him regardless.
He looks very confused. Una.
Well, I don't have that special skill of animal pleasing. So I'm gonna stab at mine with my rapier.
Roll it.
Stab.
Oops, wrong one. Roll the middle one. You're good.
Middle. Where?
The one that's like dead in the middle of the sheet.
I don't want to die in the middle of the sheet.
That's the one.
Huzzah.
And you hit it. Which one are you attacking?
The one closest to me.
Okay, this guy. You run him through. He squeals. It pops out the other side. He didn't like that. This weasel says, "You guys aren't worth this." Copper, would you like an attack of opportunity?
Yeah.
Just for a hell of it, sure.
That weasel makes it nowhere.
Aw, poor bastard.
Come on.
This weasel also says, nope. Una, would you like an attack of opportunity with your rapier? Roll it.
Yeah, why not?
Why are you hurting the animals?
You miss.
9.
It runs.
Such a question doesn't even deserve an answer.
This weasel looks very confused, and then tackles you and starts eating the food in your pack.
I let him.
That's a good idea. We could put it into a false sense of security and then smash him to bits.
And eventually, he just leaves. That's what that percentile roll was for.
That's cute.
Can I call him back?
You can, I mean, he lives here. You can come see him when you want. You can be buddy now.
That
And this is where we will pause our
hurt.
session for the evening, because we're about up on our time. It's a good start, though. We got a fight in. Got lots of words. So many words.
Would you say we weaseled in a fight?
No.
Oof.
Oh.
Couldn't weasel your way out of it.
Ah!
I mean, you could totally ferret it
Minus
in there.
experience.
All right,
Speaking
starting
of
with
which, how much do we get?
starting with this is milestone leveling.
I don't know what that means.
That means I just tell you when you level based on
Oh.
campaign
okay.
campaign events. No need for
I'm
XP.
okay with this.
Yes.
Campaign?
Who is your favorite and why, Braz? In the limited
Oh.
time you had to pick.
Copper Cleaver, man. Copper Cleaver. Pretty cool.
Like my old captain. used
And
to
why?
My old cow, because he talks like a sailor, a salty sailor.
All right. One card to Copper. Copper, who's your favorite and why?
Eric, because he's just awful.
I'm an awful person.
One card to Braz. Una, who's your favorite and why?
Oh, crap. There's 3 perfectly amazing players that just totally deserve it. Like, holy shit. Oh, crap. You know, I'm gonna go with Steve because of all the acting in this, his made me facepalm internally the most.
Elidor, who's your favorite and why?
I was that bad.
No, it was that on point.
Yeah.
I also just can't stress enough how awesome all 3 of you guys are. And I already love all 3 of your characters in the 20
Yes,
minutes we
it's
played
gonna
them.
be great.
But I have got to mimic what Sean said, honestly, and give mine to Braz because, wow, he sucks.
I'm trying to channel my inner Alan Rickman.
That's
as I
what
go
I was
forward.
thinking. With
Yeah,
Oh, God.
almost perfect.
the robot from Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah, and he's gonna
Life.
fit.
Don't talk to me about life.
He is the perfect character for this setting. I think it's gonna be great.
It is. And on that note, I don't have an outro statement yet, so we will see you all next week when we'll devote the entire session to playing and not talking about Ravenloft and how much Sean's gonna die. Until then, thanks for watching everyone, and we'll see you next time.